All right. Hello, everyone, to this evening's writer's stream.
You're not going to do your intro?
I was all right. So I was thinking, what do we think of the intro video? Because I know Danny had some notes.
Please don't.
Okay.
Yeah, the notes are, like I have a
It's
perfectly
too
good comic
long.
career we could
It's
advertise.
too long. It needs to be only a few seconds. It should
No,
not...
I'm okay with the length actually. Like this is a pretty long stream. That's whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like you could just, author.
Yeah.
It's trying way too hard. And then of course for I think me and John, the credits were a bit weird. Like what we're credited for in the video. For me especially, I have like 12 comics done, and like let's talk about a feature I was a PA on like 7 years ago.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, I did Lilo and Stitch. How long was that ago?
So
you know what? That's different.
I have a special announcement. All right. I want to take special time here and celebrate that Diane and I attended the distribution screening of Frontier Crucible last evening.
Mm-hmm.
And
guess what? It's actually quite fucking good.
Yes.
I've seen
surprised. The movie. Yeah. I'm confident there's a good movie in there somewhere. I'm glad it got found.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is that of all our criticism of the rough cut, having seen it now, 98%
social
complete.
Media, you know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now seeing it now at like 98% complete according to Dallas, and seeing it all done, I'm going like, this is actually really damn good.
I was very pleasantly.
I was very pleasantly surprised seeing how raw, how mean we were and critical how we were with the rough cut, and then seeing the nearly final cut of it, going like, God damn, this is gonna be good.
Yeah,
this is gonna actually be.
I mean,
they actually took our criticism.
The frustrating and weird thing about film is like, you really have to just hope everyone down the line does their job to make it land.
Yeah.
But you would be surprised, like you could make something land if you're good.
Yeah.
And by the way, Danny, I realized today, like you did this huge Freudian slip last week, which in retrospect I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't think it was a Freudian slip. I think he
no. All right. So the question is, was this accidental, or were you like purposely like doing a FU to our production when last week you introduced it as Frontier Cannibal?
No, that was completely a joke.
That was entirely accidental.
You see, I told you.
Oh my God.
What an amazing Freudian slip. Like, oh yeah.
What is the cannibal movie
what was
now?
he accused of?
Oh, were there reshoots that like hold on. Were there reshoots I wasn't invited for? Because like I do get the current political climate, but like you at least call me and tell me what's going on.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, look, the allegations against Mr. Hammer.
Oh, that. Yes.
Oh yeah, that. Oh yes.
I forgot about that.
You apparently not too much because you went to
cannibal. So
maybe it was lodged in my mind and just worked itself loose during that bit of dialogue. We should have gone with a different take.
Yeah.
Trio Twins, and then we met. Yeah. But no, there were no reshoots.
Yeah.
I remember how we kept on saying like, this thing needs a fucking close-up. Guess what? They did close-ups.
Yeah.
By just cropping. That's what they did.
Yeah.
Diane's wiping her ass with her NDA at the moment, I think. But
I mean,
it's just like
35 millimeter.
This useless piece of trash. Okay.
Well, I'll say this.
Am I talking about the plot of the film? No.
We did not shoot like we didn't shoot film stock. Right. But we shot the equivalent of double the density of 35 millimeter.
And
you can do
film
a lot
really use that because
when
like
you're
in
only
the editing
75%.
Yeah, in the editing, like there were close-ups, I think, that were kind of a bit manufactured, but it was okay because it looked all right, you know?
It actually looked fine.
Like we had enough frame for it. It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
There were some shots where like my notes actually said we have to digitally punch this in.
Yeah.
Because we just didn't have the right lens for that distance, and like the camera was at the edge of a cliff, and then the actor was at the edge of a different cliff, and we're like, okay, well, this is what we got.
This is what we got.
Yeah.
So yeah, like digital gets you really far. I mean,
it does. I was amazed.
Yeah,
well, you could do that with
I
film
told them
too.
how
It's
different
not that
it is
hard to
with a
blow up
negative,
film.
and that you will get blur and you'll get grain because if you cut from like from like negative film, but digital is something completely different, and they had a great camera. So it was a very high quality camera, and that's helped a lot. So
yeah, I think this is going to be quite a movie credit for Diane. Her first
first official
movie credit
after
I'm really looking forward to watching it and catching up with everyone in some capacity. I had a great time on it, and I am so the script was so good. The acting was so good.
I mean,
we got everything we needed pretty much on the video, pretty quickly. So just, I know it's been sort of a struggle to get there in terms of the story edit, but it sounds like all that time was worth it.
Yeah,
it was. And you know what? I think that this is good. I'm much more confident about it now.
Exactly. Yeah.
More confidence after seeing that. I'm going damn, this
you work on enough movies, you just have to trust the script, man.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Right? Everything else is
you gotta trust your collaborators.
Yeah, it'd be okay.
You gotta trust your collaborators. So
I have definitely worked on things that would it be dog shit if it was acted any worse? But a good actor with some terrible lines just can make it happen. There's always this opportunity for something to really blow up in a good way.
All right, John.
And that's what's fun about film.
Where's the script you want me to go over? Or do you have one?
Speaking of news, Preston.
Yes.
I did launch a Kickstarter today for
go ahead. Go ahead. Hold on. Go ahead. All right.
Which is doing pretty okay so far.
Yeah, I was impressed. You were doing all right with that.
Especially I had to sort of hastily rush out an FAQ about where stuff's coming from for tariff purposes.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, 890. So I mean, you're clearly gonna hit your goal.
Always do.
Pardon?
Yeah. So that's we were workshopping this for the better part of a year on the stream.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've got 4 issues done. It's a full story arc. We've got a nice trade paperback coming out.
Oh.
I think we did some pretty good design on the page.
Yeah.
And we have a really cool variant cover that's going to do a foil stamp, which is my first time figuring out how to manufacture that stuff.
Yeah, I know. It's people like that foil stamp. It's a value add,
Oh, totally. It's going to look really great.
Yeah.
And one of the stretch goals is 4 more pages, which I'm also kind of excited about because I've been doing all this really fun Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy style world building material at the end of each chapter.
Yeah.
And I have a whole bunch of art assets I actually haven't used yet. And so if we get, 125 backers, which is very doable.
Sure.
Especially since I have just get your name in the credits sort of tiers. Then yeah, that's an excuse for me to build up the world even more and make myself more excited to get back to it later. Although I do suspect this is going to be my Lords of Iron.
There we go.
Who prints these for you?
There is a guy in a medium-sized town, an hour's drive away. Sort of a small local print shop and comic shop, and he owns the rights to Cerebus. He's done some printing for Spawn and stuff like that, and he's this really, really great resource for comics creators because he lets you do pretty small print runs at pretty okay prices. And then only doesn't charge a setup fee for reprints.
Yeah, the foil is one way to go. There's also this process called embellishment, which allows you to work with a variety of different finishes that are similar to foil. Generally, it's less expensive. If you, it depends on what kind of press he has. He has to have the equipment to do it. But you might want to ask him about that because maybe he can send that out. If it only goes on the cover, maybe you can have the cover printed so that it has those effects on it if you want to do it.
That's actually pretty cool. I mean, I'll give you a bit of inside baseball here. The main reason I'm doing a foil stamp is because I was hanging out with him at an event, that we both had tables at, and he was like, "Hey, I have a new machine that'll do a foil emboss. I need a project for it." And I was like, "Okay, well, that seems like a good idea for the trade paperback of this book." And then one of his employees, the woman who did the variant cover, is someone whose work I really like. Like, she mostly does kids' books, but she'd been talking about wanting to do more comic stuff, and she works for him. So I was like, okay, well, how about we do a foil stamp? We'll get Roxy to do the art. We'll figure out a deal, and like, I'm paying her partially in books, essentially, and giving him, the press, like some extra print rights so he can make some money off that, because he's giving me a deal on the printing process.
Right.
So yeah, that's sort of how that whole thing even came about in the first place. Otherwise, I never would have thought of it.
No, it definitely helps, and it's an eye catcher for anybody, especially since you guys are at shows. It'll definitely just stand out.
I'm a bit leery in general of doing substantial variant covers on trade paperbacks.
Sure.
My last
but I will say they're really useful for launching your trade paperback, which you're mass marketing anyway, on Kickstarter. Because
no, absolutely,
because that you can go, here's the mass marketed tier, and if you want the special foil only if made 100 tier, well, then you pay big bucks and you get that.
Well, that's sort of what I'm doing here,
right?
I had this big problem for like 3 years, pretty much ending at literally the beginning of this calendar year. Well, I mean, whatever. Where I kind of overprinted all of my secondary products, like extra variant covers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For like issue 2s of stuff, and just like I put the energy in the wrong place.
Mm-hmm.
And what that's left me with is a whole pile of stuff that's really difficult to sell.
Yes.
I've
walked through the valley of the shadow of inventory.
Yeah.
So it is frightening.
In order to not be stuck with a whole bunch of stuff that's like way harder to sell. Like, I've learned my lesson about that.
Yeah.
But it took me a while to do it, because for like my first year and a half or so of printing stuff, we were halfway in lockdown, halfway out of lockdown, not a lot of big events, all of that stuff. I just had no idea what things would be like at physical comic conventions. So I've ended up spending a whole bunch of money to make a whole bunch of stuff that's really very cool, and also really, really hard to move. And some of the things, because I've only got limited numbers of them, I kind of want to bring to shows in case someone wants to throw money at me. But that just means I need to lug it around everywhere. Just schlep this stuff. It's a bloody hassle. So yeah, thankfully, I've since learned that lesson. I'm really focusing on just having like the best core product I can. But it took me a while to get there, just because like stuff that did well on Kickstarter, like a year later when I was able to bring it to events, I was talking about different products in my head.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that.
I mean, I love White Lily, and I'm glad John sells a lot of that for me. It's a story that never goes out of style. I mean, I wrote it like 10 years ago, but it's great, and I just talk about it, and bam. But like, I just did a show this weekend. It was a 1-day show, and Palace was actually my #1 seller, despite the fact that was the story I would talk about third. Because like White Lily is very like there's lots of people who should like a war story, World War II fighter planes, women, history and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then we get like gradually a bit more kinky with Guinevere. And then if you're just a freak, well, then maybe you'll like this one. But I was selling like the most of the thing I was talking about, the third.
Well, so what's really funny is like that is not how I pitch Palace at all.
Okay.
I'm just like, oh, okay, well, if you like fantasy stuff, this is based on a D&D adventure. Look at some ideas of what a lawful evil society looks like.
Yeah.
And then it's very much like a real adventure when there's this great plot going on. PCs show up. They don't care. They just wreck everything.
Yeah. I sell a lot of people on that. When they read that lineup for the experience, And yeah, a friend of mine was like, man, that line was so cold because it just told you like your existence means nothing to these people. They don't care about you at all beyond a number. I'm like, I know.
They just come in like an adventure.
They just come in and kill you and say, I'm taking your stuff.
Yeah, so like I really put it actually you'll appreciate this, Preston.
Okay.
I literally sell it side by side with my Conan-esque adventure story.
Sure.
That was very heavily inspired by the Conan comics, which is just an ash can, I know, but
right.
Okay, you know, here's a Conan-esque story, here's a little adventure, you know, an idea for some inspiration. Oh, you want some more of that? Well, here's Palace of the Golden Princess.
Yeah.
So like I think my first sale at the event I went to on Sunday, someone came in, picked up some very premium dice and was going on about how he's got this character doing whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, so this is after he pays for the dice. I'm like, oh, you know, I've got fantasy books, right? And I go on about reckless child endangerment and Palace. And he's like, oh, Palace sounds amazing. Turns around and just like puts his card back down on my reader, is like, sell me that. Right? So yeah, there's I'm definitely not leaning into the kink, but like it's still moving. Yeah. So
well, and I gotta say, it is the most realistic portrayal of player characters you will ever meet. Because for a while, I was a game master for Pathfinder Society games, and Pathfinder is like participation trophy, kind of like D&D. Like it's very hard for your character to die.
Yeah.
And you know, the Pathfinder Society things, you show up, you follow the obvious plot hooks, you roll some dice, you win, and you get a little certificate for participation, and you get like a little partial level up. And just running those things, it's just the expectation is just like, you know, the players are just going to run rampant over everything. And I just know, like, as the GM, I felt like I was just trying to provide some level of plot to these people who really didn't care. And that's what Palace kind of reflects. Like, they're just trying to give some plot to these people who don't really care. They're just like, oh, whatever. You're dead.
Like, I remember
that is very PCs.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess, should I say spoilers?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
But at the last issue, you have Thora on fire.
Yeah.
And she lightning strikes, and I'm like, why the hell is she lightning? What about Kona Cole? And then the next page was
Kona Cole.
And I just started laughing. I just started like, oh, we gotta kill her first before we put her out. So, I see. So I see it. I'm like, damn, man. It's just like
anyway. But yeah, I was really excited that I sold more Palace than anything, despite the fact that was what I talked about third.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so John, what do we got here?
Oh, so this is a rewrite of Harpies issue 4.
Fantastic. What happened in the first 3 issues?
Does anyone remember anymore? Does John remember?
I don't.
Long Fu and
I remember what happened in the first issue because we actually lettered that.
Yeah, Long Fu and Jezidru have a spat while they're nuking a lot of Nazis, and they found a robotic cat in an ancient Egyptian pyramid.
Oh yeah.
Is the cat like scary in this version or like cool like in the previous versions?
Okay, so none of that happens in issue 3 anymore.
Oh, all right. So
how are we supposed to know that? Don't give us that attitude. I don't know about you, Preston, but I failed my mind reading courses in high school. I will apologize for that.
Well, you didn't let me answer. Okay, so issue 3 is basically the whole Zola, basically Jezidru's girlfriend shows up and wrecks shit. And that's basically issue 3. So this is kind of transitioning us to India, as the superimpose indicates, and is kind of starting. I guess how would you? I don't know really how I would describe the transition from 3 to 4. It's
abrupt.
So as I was So, like, if 1, 2, and 3 is just kind of like a surface level introduction, this would be like the beginning of. So, in my 7-issue arc, 1, 2, and 3 don't really are very serial, whereas this is kind of like going to introduce the primary crux, the main
what
plot.
You're saying is that this is Act 2.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Except also probably abrupt.
All right, who's narrating?
Let's go. Exterior, Bulshewar Market Day, Super, Bombay, India. Wearing a brocade kurta, MI6 agent Raj Patel sits in the passenger seat of a Jeep, driven by a sepoy. The driver slowly navigates the bustling market toward a shop draped in various fabrics and rugs. Upon arrival, Raj exits the vehicle, walking behind the shop towards Mumbadevi Temple. Day. Raj approaches the temple grounds, heavily guarded by sepoys standing at attention and carrying Lee Enfield rifles. As he climbs up the steps towards the temple entrance, the temple Mahant greets him.
I'll do Mahant. That's fine.
Go ahead.
Mr. Patel, I am glad you are finally here, so we can assure you and your Colonel Smith that all of this, gesturing to the sepoys, is very unnecessary.
We need a Raj, John.
We have reliable intel suggesting the Sadhaka is in grave danger.
Interior, Mumbadevi Temple entryway day.
I'm sorry, Dan. Are you
entryway
No, I
is...
think it's very funny. I just think it's very funny. Sorry.
It sounds a lot like John Carter of Mars.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep on reading. Interior, Mumbadevi Temple day, entryway. The temple entryway is laid in lavish fabrics and statues of the goddess Mumbadevi. Upon entering the temple, both Raj and the Mahant remove their sandals.
Once the morning prayers are concluded, you may meet with her.
Thank you.
Interior, Mandapa day. The sidewalks of the Mandapa are lined with idols as worshippers move between offering prayers and small financial sacrifices. Do you mean money?
Yes.
Towards the back is
also, like, particularly, I know in East Asian, we like an offering of food.
Yeah.
Is very common at like a Buddha idol or something.
Yes.
So
yeah, and in Japan, if you're giving a prayer, you toss in like 5 yen.
Right. Stuff like
that. Toward the back is a large ornate door leading to the Garbhagriha. The Mahant leads Raj halfway down the Mandapa towards the door.
Please wait here.
The Mahant enters the Garbhagriha, leaving Raj behind for a moment before returning with a young woman wearing a lehenga choli dress.
Oh, Mr. Patel, may I introduce you to Indra, the Sadhaka?
Raj bows to one knee.
Pranam.
Please, that is not necessary. I am but a humble servant.
Raj stands.
May I speak with you in private?
Interior temple garden day. Raj and Indra walk the lush temple garden.
How fares the American Sakata? I heard that the BBC, she took quite the fall.
She survived, and I'm sure you would have fared just as well.
And yet, here you are. That's kind of cold, man.
That is. That is.
Well, I mean, since this is like Indian long fu, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. A great many things are at stake here.
The telegram we received said that we were to be received by the Colonel Smith of the British Military Intelligence.
While I am at liberty to speak on behalf of the Colonel, I cannot speak for the rest of British intelligence, but the Colonel does hold a lot of sway.
Indra stops along the path, holding out her hands towards Raj. As Raj goes to take her hands...
Don't.
Raj steps back.
I'm sorry?
As he looks at her hands, lightning appears to flicker between her fingers.
Lightning?
A wind picks up within the temple garden, blowing through the trees and flowers. The sky grows dark as a thunder booms in the distance. And in a passing second, the sky clears and the winds die down again.
That's a very interesting parlor trick.
I assure you, the Pujari would never let a woman into the Garbhagriha if this were simply our parlor tricks.
Raj motions for them to continue their walk.
How about lunch somewhere outside of the temple?
Indra smiles wryly.
I see the West has made you quite the skeptic.
I have traveled too far and seen too much.
Suddenly, gunfire echoes through the temple.
Oh, no.
Exterior, Mumbadevi Temple Day. Sepoys retreat inside the temple as Mueller leads a small detachment of German soldiers across the temple grounds. The Germans outnumber and are better shots, leaving little more than half the Sepoys to make it to safety before the temple grounds are overrun. Mueller climbs the steps to the temple. Balling up a fist, he punches the door, causing the foundations of the temple to shake. Interior Mumbadevi Temple entryway day. Reminiscent of the opening scene of Star Wars, the Sepoys line the entryway, rifles aimed at the door as the boom boom continues. Interior Temple Garden day. The Mahant rushes into the temple garden, finding Raj and Indra.
Sadhaka, we must get you to safety.
The ground shakes.
Was there an airship?
I didn't see. Only a dozen or more men.
Zeppelins do traditionally shake the ground wherever they go. Raj turns to Indra as she removes her head shawl.
My lady, I think the Mahant has the right idea.
Indra hands him the head shawl. Did you mean shawl?
Yeah,
Possibly.
I think shawl. Yeah.
Is that what it said?
No, that's not what he wrote.
Oh,
I probably
okay.
spelt it wrong.
Okay.
Probably.
If I leave, they will desecrate the Garbhagriha, and then
Indra makes her way out of the garden. She just leaves in the middle of.
well, Mr. Patel, looks like the British intelligence will get what they wanted after all.
Interior Mumbadevi Temple entryway day. With a loud boom, the massive doors fall from their hinges, collapsing inward. Green demonic eyes pierce through dust lingering like thick fog. The Sepoys open fire. Mueller charges in, muscles bulging. Sickly green veins pump an infected blood through his body. Bullets from the Lee Enfields cannot break his skin. Mueller grabs a Sepoy, throwing him across the room, crashing into another Sepoy. Grabbing a third, he crushes his head with his bare hands. Following Mueller in, the Germans advance, opening firing, taking out several other Sepoys as they clear the entryway. Interior, Mandapa, day. Worshippers flee the Mandapa as Mueller and the others barge inside. The German indiscriminately shoot at the idols. Some knock them, others stomp them with their boots. Mueller heads toward the doors leading to the Garbhagriha. Suddenly, the room goes dark as if night. A wind blows through open windows. Mueller and the German soldiers turn as Indra stands alone in the doorway from the entry to the Mandapa.
That's me.
And
I'll do Mueller. Another false god. You're to stand again, Schwarzer son.
The Germans raise their rifles. Indra outstretches her hands as arcs of lightning shoot forth, striking those closest to her. The lightning arcs from them to those behind, and then arcs to those behind them. Mueller charges forward at full speed. With a flick of her wrist, the lightning stops, dropping the German soldiers dead. Putting her hands together toward Mueller, gale force winds blow against Mueller. Merely slowed in charge, Mueller continues advancing. Indra motions with one of her hands as massive sleet shards fly like daggers, striking Mueller but shattering like glass upon his unbreakable skin. With each advancing step, Mueller's green infected blood pumps harder, turning his skin a jaundiced yellow. Indra slowly steps backward. The air continues growing colder, but nothing can stop Mueller's advance. This realization slowly sets into Indra. Mueller grabs Indra by the throat, chocking her. Lightning, now spelled correctly.
Yeah.
strikes the both of them, but after a second, the elemental chaos ceases and the room goes quiet. Indra gasps and chokes. Air cut off, Muller's massive fist around her throat.
Do you feel that, Madchen? The heat of the Schwarze Sonnen consuming you.
Indra's body goes weak, and then her spirit is gone. The end. Okay, I guess the story keeps happening. Muller drops Indra's lifeless body on the ground, turning backward towards the doors, the Garbhagriha. Okay. Raj races into the mandapa, dropping to his knees beside Indra. Without even looking back, Muller draws a pistol, firing twice, hitting Raj in the chest and stomach. Holstering his pistol, he throws open the doors to the sacred chamber. Raj's starts to blur. He hears gunshots. Straining to focus as the doors to the Garbhagriha slowly close, Raj watches Muller execute the priests. Where did the priests come from?
That's a good question. I don't remember priests.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's one of the words that was missing from some of the last novels.
They were inside the holy
doors
place.
To the Garbhagriha close, even though they were knocked off of their lintels. Raj collapses, breathing strained. As the room quiets, the Mahant enters. Kneeling beside Raj, he presses against the bullet wounds.
Sir, hang on.
Call the Duke. Get Harpies here before it's too late.
Exterior Mumbadevi Temple Day, VFX shot.
I'll worry about it later.
Fast aerial zoom from above the temple too. Exterior lower atmosphere continuous, VFX shot. Fast pan across the globe from Mumbai, India to Alexandria. Is Mumbai a place in India? I've never heard of that place.
That you're not actually making a screenplay, but all right, cool.
I know, I know. It's just the way I see things in my head.
It doesn't have to be a VFX shot. They could just hire a spaceship, John.
Yeah, like they're gonna do that.
Well, they could. What if you have a really good producer?
Yeah.
They're gonna hire somebody to do it in CG, most likely, and they're cut together.
You're the writer. It's not your problem.
So what?
Exterior Port of Alexandria Day. The HMS Duke of Cambridge sits anchored in the Mediterranean Sea on the edge of the port. Super Alexandria, Egypt. 3 hours later. Interior the Duke Bridge Day. A radio technician leaps from his seat excitedly.
I'll do it. Captain, urgent decrypted telegram from Colonel Smith in Bombay.
He hands it off to the captain. His eyes go wide as he prepares for action.
Raise anchor. Full speed to the Suez.
The bridge becomes a bustle of activity. The captain turns back to the radio tech.
Captain, urgent encrypted telegram. I'm sorry. Send a message to the Lieutenant Rice. No, that's you.
I know. But you wanted to read for some reason.
It was a gender change.
Yeah.
Sorry, I saw radio tech and I'm like, okay.
Send a message. Yeah, you got excited. But yeah, it's still the captain. Send a message to Lieutenant Rice in Cairo. Tell her to meet us on the Red Sea at 800 hours.
Aye, Captain.
It will be 0800, but all right.
0800 hours.
Yeah, 0800 hours.
Normally it would be, but that's not what John wrote.
That is not.
Again.
Exterior,
Aye, Captain.
HMS, Duke of Cambridge Day. Smoke stacks belch forth as the massive carrier begins moving. As the chain rises up from the water, Orion, wearing a skin-tight wetsuit, duffel bag slung over her back, grips the chain being pulled into the air. Exterior HMS Duke of Cambridge, carrier deck day. Orion peeks. I'm pretty sure that's not how you spell peeks.
Yeah.
Over the deck, railing, assuring no one is watching. Climbing over, she drops the watertight duffel onto the ground. After peeling off the wetsuit, like a bell?
Yeah.
Like a bell, John?
2 E's.
She opens the duffel. A human being, not a brass bell. Later, 2 soldiers walk patrol along the edge of the deck. An arrow of pure green energy strikes one of the soldiers, causing him to polymorph into a chicken.
Oh shit!
The other soldier goes for his rifle when Orion appears, wearing her combat outfit and wielding a stringless archer's bow with green glowing runic carving in the upper and lower limbs. Just a single carving? Yeah,
yes,
just a single
carving that goes all the way.
Wearing a special glove with the glowing nuclear Hecate emblem on it, Orion touches 2 fingers to the bow sight as she makes the motion of drawing an arrow. An arrow of green energy grows in the bow. She fires. The arrow flies right past him, but then morphs into a ball of energy that sucks everything non-organic the soldier has into itself, stripping him of his weapon, armor, and clothing, leaving him stark naked before closing in on itself. The soldier stares at his now naked self, then at Orion. She smirks at him. The soldier takes off running. The chicken pecks on Orion's boots. Cluck, cluck. Orion punts the chicken over the side of the ship. Splash. Start VFX shot. Fast aerial zoom out to exterior lower atmosphere day. Fast pan from Alexandria to Cairo. Then fast zoom down to exterior army camp, runway day. I love how that's in a notable country. Which country is it in, John?
That's a good question.
Super 90 minutes later. Aaron and Longfu in heated conversation as Corporal. Wayne and Jezidral lag several steps behind. So now we need an Aaron and a Longfu.
Do you want to be? Oh, what you are Longfu.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's racist.
Not sexist.
I'll represent.
Represent.
All right.
I'll
As long as
represent.
she is deciding to represent and the white people are not deciding for her, that's fine.
Okay, there we go.
I'll represent.
All right, John, why don't you be Aaron?
Mm-hmm.
John.
Oh, neither you nor Jezidro can fly. So you go with me, and she goes with the corporal.
I don't trust her with him.
That boy is going to be your personal lapdog for life. Besides, I don't think she's into that anymore.
While my coven sisters do know many ways to please women, men certainly have better equipment to hit all the right spots. That
Not
is
help.
most John Lamont line to ever John Lamont right there.
That is a pretty obviously you. Yes.
I wonder if the writers met.
An air boss runs ups to Aaron.
Air boss. The
Sorry, an
commander
air boss
said to,
runs UPS to Aaron?
yeah.
I don't even know.
The commander said to give you whatever you need.
2 Fireflies, fully fueled and ready to go in 6 hours.
Yes, ma'am.
Longfu pulls on Aaron's arm.
What if she sucks out his soul? Like a real soul.
I swear your boyfriend's soul is safe. That's a diss right there.
See?
Longfu pouts.
You've got 2 choices. She flies with the corporal, or she crams in the backseat with you, but then he stays here. So what'll it be?
Fine.
Don't worry, Avatar. At least with me around, he won't get his joysticks mixed up.
I swear you are all children.
Okay,
Wow.
there we go. All right, we made it through the first 10 pages of issue 4 of Harpies. And we see Jezidro and Longfu and Aaron. I don't know that I've seen a scene with them together before, or if so, well, I've seen another one, but they're together. They're fighting. I don't know.
Well, they're arguing.
They're arguing.
They're arguing
over
exactly.
Dick.
Yeah.
And hooray, they're arguing over Dick. And
so the scene fails the Bechdel test.
Yeah.
Fails the Bechdel test. Yes.
Meanwhile, see, we have some Nazis beating up.
There's conflict.
Yeah. We have some battle. There's some Nazis beating up. I don't know, somebody, and they're like squeezing her kind of hard.
Yeah.
So, and we got we got like the Germans invading what seemed like India, and I played Raj, who got wounded, and I hope he survives. There you go. What do you think, Dan?
It's nice. I like it. The dialogue rules down the plot fairly well. I'm I know that the scenes with Aaron and Long Fu and all of them were kind of cut a little short. Don't know what's going on with them yet, but I hope to in the future. And the lightning powers are great, although you spelled lightning. That's okay. so, but that's okay. And I'm kind of curious about if they're going to end up beating up some Nazis.
I'm guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
They haven't done it yet,
okay.
but here's hoping.
All right, Robert.
Yeah, I actually I enjoyed the movement in it, and that I felt like I was moving through these spaces. So there was I'm going to call it like miniature world building into the buildings and what they were doing, and how it affected them. It didn't seem clear. Well, it did seem clear to me when the Nazis came in. I couldn't quite tell what their motivation was, so I was a little confused. I enjoyed the superpower nature of the Nazi. I think that was a compelling character to set up the drama, if you will, what they're going to be confronting, and that part I liked about it. Getting onto the ship and leaving and all of that it seemed like an awful lot of process to get there, but I think if you tighten that up, you've got something that moves very quickly and just short of a breathless pace. I liked it.
Danny.
That scene in India was really quite interesting. It had characters I wanted to see more of.
Yeah.
And
I like the Indian scene very much.
Yeah, that part was really quite compelling.
Cool. All right. And any constructives?
It reminded me that the parts with the main characters are much less compelling.
Yeah, the Long Fu.
Like, what's this? It's a character like Long Fu, except kind of interesting. It has a job and like takes herself seriously and like deals with a threat seriously and is put in danger seriously by said threat. Yeah, that's what I want to see more of. So that contrast was a bit striking, although chapters 2 and 3 have probably gone through so many revisions that this may well be the case for Long Fu throughout the series now. I don't know. The scene on the Duke of Cambridge was way too long and needed to be like one panel, pretty much. You didn't really add anything by having it there. Just going straight to like, okay, they're relaying a message. We need to get planes ready to go for whatever. Send the message. We're going to go meet them in whatever, the Sea of India or whatever. The Indian Ocean, that's what it's called. Yeah. That would have been fine. And then we can get straight to the dick jokes.
Yeah, that transition also it got to me. And I think I guess you would, I'm unfamiliar with it, so forgive my naivete on how panels are constructed. Some of the descriptions of the panels feels like there's maybe a little bit too much going on in them visually as I try to visualize it.
This was screenplay format, not.
John drafts in screenplay format and then edits into panels.
Panels. Okay, well, those descriptions seem busy to me. I had difficulty visualizing them, but the action within the space was good. So I would tighten up, obviously what the visuals are going to be in the panels. That it's the best way I can say it.
Yeah, I'll do some editing before I start converting it over. And and Danny, you are right about the transition scenes. I will very likely be chopping them as if I can get us from point A to point B in less than one page, that would be the goal. I don't want to waste a lot of time with that because it's not important. I feel like it's mildly important, but not enough to waste time.
You could just cut directly to the other location. I mean, the thing about comics, right, is every time you want to show a new image, it's a waste of real estate. Every time you need to have even more dialogue, you're threatening your real estate. It's not, obviously, I'm mostly just saying this for the sake of saying it, but it's not the same as a screenplay. Certain things that are really very easy in a screenplay, like they walk down the hallway, take a hell of a lot of writing in a comic. And dialogue is one of the things that is actually really cheap when you're doing film and really expensive in terms of real estate when you're doing a comic. So obviously you already know this, but it is worth repeating every time people bring in screenplays and think it translates easily. Like, it really doesn't.
Right.
But we're still missing constructives from Preston and Diane.
Do you got anything?
I think you actually just said everything that I do think that
you can say something. Think of something. Come on.
No, I mean, like you said, it was like I thought that despite the fact that the dialogue carried the plot very well, I think that could be edited down to something crisper, and could be pushed the story a little faster in order to get to the more of the conflict, and therefore we couldn't figure out what it is. But it is, I do agree that I find India much more interesting than your main characters. But we're
Indra, right?
Indra, actually, I liked her. I was kind of wondering where the British intelligence thing was coming. Like, I'm intrigued by that.
And Raj was kind of suffering, you know.
Yeah,
he got hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt.
I'm like,
oh.
Yeah.
With all of these characters who are not our main protagonists.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
I know. And it's just like, well, the thing is that they actually had the personality in their dialogue very well.
Right.
And I really enjoyed that.
Right.
And then when they got hurt, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, which going back to, with Dan, they're like, the superhero people, I feel like, are more invulnerable, and they just tend to girl boss waltz their way through encounters anyway. Whereas these people, I feel like, had like real struggles facing these robot Nazis, and I felt kind of bad.
And they're also like in actual like death.
Danger. Yeah, like that's
danger, and I'm like, going like, what's
like
up?
You found the drama.
But... I'm like going like, I want to know about that, honestly. But that's kind of what happens when you have like characters that are very overpowered and things. It's like, what can stop them? And then you just end up kind of like being kind of bored. And then when you have someone suffering, you're like, oh, I hope they make it. You can do it. And it's like, you're just cheering. And I can't help.
Really, the thing that was missing is they need to say, Jezidro will save us. And then, like, we feel good when they show up. We're like, oh, thank goodness.
Superman will come.
Superman will come.
Or, because it's this and everyone's playing dick jokes in, like, Egypt, Jezidro will save us, and then no one comes to save them.
And then, and I felt... And
that's a dramatic technique called pathos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was just like, oh, no.
Which, for the record, is not the name of one of the Three Musketeers.
It is not.
Thanks, Robert.
Porthos.
D'Artagnan.
All right, Robert. We showed up tonight, so we will be looking at your stuff. Special.
Okay, this is
as a kind of a general rule.
Yeah, this is a screenplay that I wrote after I wrote the novella, and it turned out being completely different. Not completely, but significant differences in how characters were brought out. So this is the first 10 pages, and
I want to point out. When I say the first 10 pages, I don't include the title page.
I know. I just printed out that way. So, it broke out to what I have. So
right. So really, we're reading the first 9. Since
you got it.
10-page PDF.
It closes well. So
yeah. All right.
There's a lot of reading and a lot of dialogue that comes up. So
John, why don't you narrate for us?
All righty then.
It's got Bible verses. Your favorite.
Oh yay! All right.
He'll tell you about being traumatized by Christians growing up and having to avoid them.
You'll
forever.
love the story.
That explains a lot about his screenwriting.
Actually,
that explains everything.
I completely understand.
Preston, you cracked the code for us.
No problem. All right.
So shall I begin?
Yes, go ahead.
Matthew 25:14. Depart from me, cursed one. Go to the devil.
Map of the Black Sea.
Yeah.
Exterior, deep water port, pre-dawn. Ulysses, 36-40, stands close to the base of the gantry crane. The sound of the angry mob echo through the stacks of containers.
Where's the damn container?
Where is the damn container? My whole life, centuries of memories, lost in the raid on my family mansion. Only a few precious items remain after the looting, and one, just one, is what I need now.
On the run since the sun last set.
Ulysses.
On the run since the sun last set. Okay, I don't know how that's filmable. Ulysses searches for the container FF6. He shows no sweat. He does not become out of breath. He starts at the front row and works his way back through the pass. He shouts from the mob grow louder. The shouts from the mob grow louder. Shafts of light from the handheld torches appear between rows. Shadows of the mob are cast against 80-foot walls of rusted steel.
Can I just pause for a second? Like, where did that mob come from?
You'll hear them ultimately.
Well, we hear them now because shouts reference the sound.
I mean, were they mentioned in that initial scene setting at all?
No, not at all.
Okay. I thought I was crazy for a second. Thank you.
No. Well, you might
Exterior crane booth, night. The crane operator, 30, watches a figure running toward the containers. He takes a quick nip from a whiskey flask and hides it deep in a shelf. Sliding open the window, the operator uses his binoculars to get a closer look and yells to the shadowy figure.
Hey.
I'll do the crane operator. Hey, mister, it ain't safe to be under the crane.
Especially not when the crane operator is drinking.
Exactly.
Ulysses looks up.
I'm looking for a container. FF6. Best game ever.
You ain't supposed to be here. Besides, they've all been sealed by the Port Authority. You can't get in them.
Crane operator's necklace is a crucifix of polished silver, reflecting the many lights in the loading area. Ulysses winces, and each flash from the cross shades his eyes.
I'm a priest. The family asked me to bless the container. I do not need to be inside.
Oh, Father, I am sorry, but... I crossed myself.
The crane operator crosses himself.
Wait a minute. Let me check the manifest. What was the number again?
FF6, the one with Kefka.
Oh, too late. I loaded it an hour ago. It's on the Merciful Sea. She left the docks already. I'm sorry, Father.
How do I contact them?
How should I know?
The operator looks down from the booth.
Hey, say, what kind of priest are you? Where's your vestments? You got any paperwork? How'd you even get on the docks?
Out of the misty darkness, a ship's horn blasts.
Well, I'll be damned. It's the Merciful Sea.
The operator leans out his windows to call down to Ulysses.
Hey, that's the ship. Huh? Where'd he go?
He's a vampire and he turned into a bat and flew away.
Bat.
Interior crane operator booth. He turns to see Ulysses is standing in front of the booth's control dashboard.
Yeah. How the hell did you get in here?
He's a vampire.
How the hell did you get in here?
He's a vampire. Ulysses peers into the operator's eyes, and with a lightning quick move of his hand, the operator is frozen stiff. As his eyes widen, a small drop of blood falls on his hand. The operator's eyes rolls up as he collapses in his chair. Ulysses grimaces and spits on the floor.
Too much palinka, my friend. It will kill you, and it ruins the palate experience.
Ulysses gently places his hand on the operator's forehead.
Stay calm. You will be fine.
Ulysses takes a tissue from a box on the dashboard, wipes away the small drop of blood from the corner of his mouth. The operator comes to a few minutes later. He looks up and sees Ulysses outside the booth, his cape flowing in the harbor wind. Still groggy, the operator calls out.
Get back in here. That's an 80-foot fall.
My God, there's a cape. He is a vampire.
He gasps as Ulysses leaps into the air and fly out over the water, landing on the merciful sea. The operator's eyes rolls up. He faints, falls back in his chair. The mob leader, 60, bangs on the window, stirs the operator. Dizzy and weak, the operator regains consciousness, unlatches the door.
We have a warrant for an escaped criminal, assaulted a few dozen people. You see anyone out of place on these docks since yesterday around sunset?
Why does the mob care about a warrant?
I
Stunned and
don't
weak,
know.
the operator looks up, points out
write it.
the window.
A posse
He
comitatus could have a
flew
warrant.
over the harbor.
There you go.
Gasping for air, he collapses on the dashboard, hits the crane controls. The booth shakes violently. The flask of Palinka falls from the shelf where it was hidden. The mob leader reaches down, opens the flask, and sniffs.
Oh,
Great.
great.
Oh, sorry, that's Preston. Okay, sorry about that, Preston. Go ahead.
Oh, great. Heavy crane operator drunk on the job. Look at you, pale white, like every drop of blood has drained. We're reporting you to the harbor master.
Again, very, very mob-like. The operator moans. The mob leader looks out over the waters.
He flew over the waters, drunken fool. Shit.
The mob leader hurls the flask through the open window into the harbor. The ship's horn blows a warning, leaving on the morning tides to the open sea. Exterior container ship, pre-dawn. Ulysses stands atop a container, stacked on the deck of the merciful sea. The ocean breeze gently furls his cape. He leaps down and rests his hand on the container label FF6.
Dun, dun, dun.
His coffin's probably in there. With a light push, he opens a hidden side door. The distant horizon, a glow of golden aura as the sun is about to rise. As Ulysses steps inside, he stops and takes one last look out. He whispers words, the lullaby his mother was denied, singing to soothe him.
Little one who dwelt in the house of darkness. Well, you are outside now. You have seen the light of the sun.
Ulysses closes the door, and it seals without a visible trace. The aura of the sun is visible as it breaks over the horizon. Matthew 28:46. My God, why have you forsaken me? Interior, small hovel, sunrise. Late morning, 43 AD.
I did not expect that.
I kind of did by this point.
Hey,
Yeah.
Caligula.
Yeah, I did not expect it. We got to Caligula. All right.
Right,
I mean,
do it.
Rutger, this is how you do it. Vampires.
There you go.
Phileas Caligula, 35, sits with Ulysses, 10, his young son, by the Damascus gate in Old Jerusalem. The stone pillars stand sentinel to the wooden gates, creaking and groaning as teams of donkeys pull them open. Shafts of light from the sun just appearing over the mountain peaks pierce through the dust raised by the doors. Roman soldiers on patrol are marching out the gate. They throw stale bread to the poor, hunkered down on the side of the road. A boy scrambles for food scraps and brings them to his elderly fathers. Phileas watches his motherless son, brushes the gravel from the dirt from the bread.
I'll read Phileas. Son, be grateful for the food the soldiers cast off. Come inside. I must tell you this story.
Interior, Phileas' hovel. A dirt floor, low wooden benches furnish the humble interior. The light flickers, the only light from a small fireplace.
It is time for you to know why you had no mother to nurture you from her breast, to soothe you with lullabies, to teach you how to be a man, and to learn how the world challenges you.
Phileas' hand waves and creates shadows from the warm light of the fireplace.
Her brother committed sins, rewarded with worthless worldly treasure. Judas testified to the secrets held by the King of the Jews.
Ulysses' eyes are fixed on his father. His body responds to every gesture.
Yes, Jesus of Nazareth, told his disciples he was king, and this was to be kept from all followers. Judas took the silver pieces, and when he betrayed the confidence placed in him by the Son of God, his guilt overwhelmed him. At the place of the skull at Golgotha, he was horrified by the gruesome gore of Jesus' torment. He touched the cross, buried his face in his bloody hands, and he cried and howled his grief, screaming to God to forgive him for his treachery.
A Roman soldier pulls open the cloth that hangs over the entrance to the hovel. Felicius puts his fingers to his lips, signals Ulysses to be quiet. The soldier spits on the floor and leaves. Flashback. Interior Judas's home night.
Voiceover. Judas leaves the silver pieces in a pool of blood. He finds his way home, and there, still asking forgiveness, hangs himself. As he slowly suffocates, the last words he hears are spoken by a voice from the heavens.
Judas climbs on a stool, then kicks it away, left hanging, feet gently swing from side to side. His body jerks until it stops. Interesting. So now we have a third way that Judas dies.
A repentant grief leads to salvation without regret. Your worldly grief produces death as redemption. You shall be neither in heaven nor in hell, but remain in earthly turmoil.
Flashback ends.
His body hung until your mother, against the will of the village, cut him down.
Ulysses nibbles the piece of bread, then offers it to Philius. He waves it off. Scenes of the sages of the Sanhedrin arguably gesture. They point fingers to the accused. So the Sanhedrin appeared in this scene?
They will appear in the scene. The Sanhedrin accused and convicted your mother of heresy, a seditious act. My mother, okay, you're moving it. A seditious act. My young wife hearing you, my son, and instructed the Mecubal mystic to curse her soul.
The expression of Felicius' face scares Ulysses as he cowers.
She shall live forever and only find sustenance in the blood of living things. No death can bring her salvation, and the curse on Judas's head is now upon her, and her children that she will bear, and their children, and so it shall be.
A ray of light from the rising sun appears through the doorway. Felicius reaches over and pulls the cloth to block the sun from Ulysses.
But the villagers were not satisfied with the curse.
The young wife is dragged to the cross.
The moment she gave birth, she was dragged to Calvary, a stake driven through her young heart, nailing her to the wooden cross of Jesus. Half alive, she violently thrashed, screaming for mercy, until her pleas shortened to gasps. She drew a shallow breath for the last time.
The knife slowly carves the marks into the screaming baby's neck.
The village elder ripped her newborn baby from my arms. He used a holy dagger to carve 2 marks into the nape of the baby's neck.
Ulysses touches the back of his neck. Elder raises the baby above his head.
Let the 2 scars warn every soul of the danger of this curse.
Ulysses looks to his young son, whose tears stream down his dirty face.
And you, my son, bear that curse. Bread offers a meal, but blood is life. And you must seek it, as you shall never die, never know repentance, and never be forgiven.
Is off to exterior wilderness. 10 years later, Ulysses, an adult now, walks on a dirt path alone, holds a staff topped by a vampire-bladed ankh. Interior scribe's quarters. A small oil lamp lights the room. The scribe inks his feather quill and begins to write in Aramaic. After the first 2 words, the writing turns to English.
The son Ulysses bore countless children and trusted many mortals. Turned many mortals into eternal disciples, chased from village to village, saddened by their fate, cursed to live without redemption in a limbo only vampires can know. So look at that. We got a stealth vampire story. I did not see that coming.
It's like 2 pages before it was vampires.
Yeah, like the vampires crept in there at the very end.
No, he
was vampire the whole damn time.
No, they foreshadowed it.
Okay.
We kept saying like, that's a vampire. That's a vampire.
Danny, why don't you start? Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. This script is surprising in a good way. It's doing weird stuff, and it really leans into it, which is something I always love to see. It is leaning in rather interestingly to a certain kind of filmic storytelling that is rarely done well and could be very, very interesting, by which I mean like watching people tell stories on camera is super cool if it gets done right. And I kind of want to see all of the adventures of vampire Ulysses trapped on the sea until he's allowed to come back to his dog. And I guess wife, but whatever.
Yeah.
I guess wife.
Penelope.
That's it, Penelope.
That's the wife.
I did not expect to have to lean on Greek lit today.
Yeah.
Well, that would be Persephone. You mean?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Calypso.
I'm a medievalist. I'm not apologizing.
Calypso, yeah.
Was that Calypso or Callisto?
Are you talking about the siren?
No, the witch. The
Medusa?
Circe, that's it.
Oh, Circe's.
Yeah.
Circe. I'm kind of eager to see what there's Circe in this.
Yeah. Anyway, John.
I very much enjoyed it. I'm always a huge fan of vampire stories.
You figured it out instantly. Jesus.
Gleaming Silver Cross kind of gives it away. But I liked your vampire origin story. It is unique. I've never heard of vampire, the curse of Judas being, not saying it was cursed, but we'll just say the curse of Judas being vampirism. That is completely new and unique, which is very, very cool.
Dan's casting some shade.
No, it's not. But it's
we've
actually
all read Vampire the Masquerade.
Very rarely done.
Let him finish what he's saying.
Yes, Vampire the Masquerade was Cain, not Judas.
Well, I know that.
Yeah.
I didn't say that.
So anyway, as I said, this was a bit of a unique twist, and I liked it. It was something new and original. And yeah, I like that. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. They betrayed Christ, and now they are forced to walk the earth.
Fearing he technically didn't, but I'll get to that.
Dude, that's what Judas okay.
No, Judas was killed. That's
I
the
do
thing.
see where John's coming from, and that's a fun discussion. I look forward to totally ignoring.
Oh, okay. In the universe of this script, right? Judas committed.
We are still saying nice things right now, Preston.
I am, which is okay. Anyway, Diane, why don't you go?
I enjoyed it very much. I also like the flashback where you have the storyteller, and that would be a fantastic monologue if you got the right actor. My God, that would be like if I had like Derek Jacobi there telling me that shit. Well, let me give him a call. That'd be awesome. So yeah,
Christopher Walken.
Yeah, Walken.
Or Brian Blessed.
Brian Blessed would be nice.
Yeah.
I don't know when it was being read out, I was just going like, who would be really good in this? Derek Jacobi. Derek Jacobi would be great. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. I actually do love the Judas angle of it. I know that I was not talking about Vampire Masquerade. There is actually like at least 2 stories, I think, that use Judas, but it's pretty rare. So it's pretty rare because it makes complete sense to the lore of modern day of like being scared of the crosses and even things like entry, portrayal, all that stuff. It's all there, and to be cursed about that. But I really enjoyed it, and I think that not only is this a great origin, I'm really kind of interested to see like how is it that you have lived this long in the modern era? And I'm kind of going like, I really could have am fascinated by that. I'm a big vampire fan.
Yeah,
I love
this is a very vampire heavy audience.
Yes,
so.
yes.
Yeah, no, this shit is really up my alley. There will be constructives.
Yeah. This is absolutely like it's really difficult to make a vampire story interesting because there's so many of them out there. It's one of those great movie monsters.
You feel it's a tired trope.
It can be, but the thing is that it's really interesting when you make it well. And it's actually difficult because there's so much out there. How do you become unique in over like what is it 150 years of vampires, something like that, almost 200 years now of vampires, vampire literature as well as film, media, and everything else. So this is a wonderful take. I'm very eager to see more.
There you go. Yeah.
Cool.
There's some conflict. There is character development in this. Although I find it more character development in the flashback than in the modern era.
Okay.
But that's just an observation, not a complaint. So.
All right. I'm a ditto all that.
Okay.
All right. I'm not nearly as passionate about vampires.
Oh, vampires are awesome.
I know.
Well, in that case, we should definitely start off with the constructives.
Go
and
ahead.
then go like take a break while we all just go at it.
Go ahead.
Get it.
All right, Diane, you want to start? John, you got anything?
Well, I think you should lean in. I mean, so I kind of feel like you did the whole trying to think. Well, like Judas. So if it's a curse on Judas, Ulysses is so far removed from that.
Yeah.
I feel like in this story, I feel a little disconnect. He's a little disconnected from all of that. And that's kind of where I'm just kind of like, why him though? And like, that's where I kind of got, and you were talking, structurally, if you're going to keep this a screenplay, we need set direction. Like, you kept talking about things happening. There was no slug changes. There were no location changes. Like, stuff was just happening out of nowhere. And I feel like if you're going to stick with this kind of storytelling, you need to give us slugs and more action lines and then cut in with the voiceover dialogue. You just kind of had stuff happening. We were changing multiple locations all within the same scene, which didn't make any sense from a structural standpoint. So yeah, those kind of things I felt like were all a little out of place and needs a little bit of cleaning up. The mob boss not acting like a mob boss. I get it. The mob runs the ports, but again, like, unless either make him act like a mob boss or just call him a port foreman. I mean, like, that's, he should either be like smoking cigars, threatening to kill this guy, or dragging him out and letting him fall off the crane and then saying, well, I guess that's what happens when you drink. Sometimes you slip. Like, that's how a mob boss would act. Like, at least that's how I would expect the mob boss to act if we're supposed to be like fearful of this guy in the first scene. He didn't act like
old ultra violence.
Yeah, the little ultra violence.
It wasn't clear if it was like an angry mob or like an Italian mob.
Yeah. That's the confusion that's going on. I hear that.
Yeah, just call him a foreman. If he never shows up again, he's a port foreman. If he shows up again and you want us to not like him because he's going to die horribly, then have him act and berate this guy, and then don't make the guy a drunk, because then he has no reason to berate him, like, I don't know, that's just
yeah, you can just make him a bully, so really so
yeah, you could just make him an inexperienced kid that just
could be just a bully. So just.
Oh, you mean the boss? Make him a bully? I thought
No,
you
he's
make him a
talking
bully.
about
the foreman.
Yeah.
The foreman.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
just
you can
make the foreman into just a bullying his worker. Really.
And then La Vigilante can come. No, Serial Twins
Yes.
can come out and act justice against bullies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they just hate bullies.
And well, they can stop by while they time travel.
Exactly.
Oh, that was
Jesus, by the way.
Yeah. Since that's apparently another thing that they do.
I think this is going to be a great crossover that we're hatching.
Perfect.
All right, Danny.
Okay, I've got 3 crits. 1 literary, 1 structural, and 1 based on continuity. The literary crit, I agree with John. Naming your guy Ulysses and then having this be like a Judas Jesus thing, kind of weird. I want to see a vampire version of Ulysses' travels.
That would have been awesome.
So you fucked up.
Yeah.
Because that is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And by not engaging with that, I think you're missing a whole lot of opportunities. You have, regardless of whether you're following Vampire the Masquerade or whatever other stuff is dealing with the Judas thing or like whatever, there's a lot of vampire fiction that deals with the Christian myth. There is substantially less vampire fiction that deals with non-Christian myth from the region. And a post-Trojan War Odysseus going on this journey that could theoretically last forever, in which he cannot die to make it end sooner, is appropriately tragic for a vampire story, puts you in a world of mysticism and magic, is just kind of weird. And I'm not sure if you've read the Odyssey, but those poor sailors get it bad. So now imagine they're choosing to live with a vampire. That's the same.
Yeah. And got slaughtered.
And that's what I want to see. Is like, well, our boss is a horrifying vampire, but at least we're not being turned into pigs.
I'm not being eaten by Cyclops.
Yeah.
Eaten by Cyclops.
You know, he'll kill us slowly. That Cyclops will eat us all now. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like they choose to stay is interesting. So yeah.
Also,
that would be kind of awesome.
That would be awesome.
Or indeed, watching, you know, a Homeric Greek hero deal with Jesus anything would also be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's 2 ways in which that didn't work. But it could really easily. So it would have been interesting to sort of see you engage with that, or like do stuff like Joyce does and just set Ulysses in the modern day with the vampires. Sort of expecting any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And what I got was something completely different, which isn't a huge complaint, but like you didn't really set it up very well.
Didn't realize the name would cause that much confusion, but that is a really good point.
I honestly consider it an opportunity. Because it's not like, oh, you fucked up because of his name. Because like Ulysses is a normal-ish name to have for, you know, a Roman, I guess, like a couple millennia ago, or maybe like a Greco-Roman. I'm sure it's still a common name now. That's not the problem. The problem is, like, as the readers of this unfilmed script, you sort of pointed us in the wrong direction to start with after spinning us around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's that. Structurally, you have a flashback within a flashback within a flashback.
I was thinking that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this seems like the kind of story where you can get away with that. Like, you know, I've seen Interview with the Vampire. That works. I've seen, what was it? Tree of Life, the Hugh Jackman one. That works.
Yeah.
There are films in which it works. Generally, it doesn't work, and mostly it's annoying because you're never quite sure which story is the story. So that's a big yellow flag right there. Because it makes it really unclear what your story is. Is it about this guy who's a superhero vampire running through, like, I don't know, 1960s Greece at the port or whatever, or like Russia or like the modern day, and like just doing vampire stuff, desperately looking for like his long lost vampire love or like his coffin to sleep in? That's kind of interesting. Or is it about this guy like living through all of time? I don't know. To that end, big continuity thing, your guy is alive in the modern day, but he actually grows 10 years and 10 years in the flashback.
Oh, thank you. Yes, that was the other thing. I thank you for
So
reminding
this
me,
is
Danny.
deeply confusing, and I feel like you haven't committed enough to your concept or determined your concept with enough specificity to really pull that off quite yet. So a solution to that is like write down what your rules are for your vampires and then follow them. But like actually like have those notes separately, because until
like we were talking
you tell
about
us
Bibles earlier.
otherwise, if you're not going to be internally consistent about it, we assume that your vampires who are afraid of crosses and silver are like other film vampires who are afraid of crosses and silver.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also grow up like real children, which is not what film vampires are supposed to do. See, once again, Interview with the Vampire, Claudia, the girl.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like tell us the rules and stick to them or follow the basic film rules. But a bit of both without drawing attention to it is just going to confuse your audience. So I know that was a lot, but you gave something really interesting, and I didn't want to like step on Diane's toes because she's gonna go nuts on the vampire thing. I hope.
No, that is it's true. For me, the most interesting part of it was the flashback scene. So I kind of couldn't go like I don't really care about the modern day.
Right.
Yeah, because it's like, hey, there's a vampire in the Roman era. I want to see that. I don't care about it being in the modern era at all.
Right.
So, and yes, then you were starting with Judas. I'm going like, yeah, that's odd, but I could see where it's going. But why is it Ulysses? Which again is like that. It could be just, is he actually Ulysses? Or is it just a guy named Ulysses? But the thing is, he was on a ship, so he was on a ship, so I assumed it was him. So, but yeah, I actually like Danny's idea about like a vampire going through the Odyssey, because I was actually thought that's what was going to happen, and then we have Judas, and I went, all right, we can do that too. But no, yeah. It's you have a great concept here. And I have to agree with Danny and John saying that you need to pick at least one of those, or you will separate them and do two separate pictures.
I'm not
sure
what it is Ulysses wants.
Ulysses was the Odyssey.
Okay, but he's also in our story, right? That just got presented.
Well, the thing is that's what my confusion was. Was this the one from?
I'm saying of the pages.
It made sense when I thought he was actually Ulysses and wanted his damn ship back.
Yeah, that's what he wanted. Yeah. That's what I thought. I'm like, hey, so someone took his ship.
He inherited a conflict.
Yeah, he inherited
from a character he wasn't actually connected to.
Yeah, that's
exactly correct. That was the misdirect.
That was the thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's the misdirect that I didn't see. I didn't see that at all.
Yeah.
I just chose Ulysses because it sounded old.
Yeah. Well, it is.
And
it is very old.
Yes. So,
yo, can I like pitch a different story idea that I just thought of?
Okay.
Yo,
what if we start with the Roman scene and have the flashbacks to modern day Ulysses and just have it be really confusing and like instead of flashing back to the past of the past, you flash back.
It would be a vampire memento.
Yes.
Well, and that's a little bit where I'm kind of like, okay, what is this stuff on the docks? Like, how does this connect?
I know, what does it connect to?
Yeah,
that's
how does this connect
for
to
me,
this
I'm just going like,
yeah.
all the flashbacks were far more interesting than any
right,
of the
yeah, like there's this crazy lore. And also, there's this mob boss not acting like a mob boss,
and I just kind of went like, I
trying
literally
to get the docks to run right.
So
like,
for
okay,
me, I just went like, you need to just get rid of all the modern day stuff,
right? Like, yeah, it just seems like okay, cut that, and
I just stick that, and that is just making it historical.
And Ulysses, and epic stuff,
and even then, when you're going like Judas and Ulysses knowing each other, I'm getting flashbacks of like Dante's Inferno.
Right.
Where you have Dante with his friend going through like the circles of hell.
Yeah, and like those people get to know each other in hell because they're all dead and their souls last forever. That's the only
reason. And seeing something like that would be, absolutely interesting.
And by extension, like as we see in vampire lore, All right, maybe
Well,
we're not
that
talking
does
about
go
hell,
to
but
hell, by the
when
way.
you're walking around the planet for centuries, you know a lot of people. You know, you've seen a lot of stuff.
You know, stuff. You get really jaded.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, and you get
I mean, Ulysses is famously quite jaded, so I'm okay with that.
So
but
Ulysses-
again, I think the Ulysses thing was, as Robert suggested, entirely accidental now.
Yeah, jaded and everything. And yeah, I like that you said like, and his dog, and I guess his wife.
Yeah.
I went like, yeah, Ulysses' dog is a big thing.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, what if it's a vampire dog, like Crypto the Super Dog, but a vampire?
well, a hellhound. There's a hellhound.
Anyway, all right. Anything else, John? Did we go over everything?
No. I'm glad that because Danny caught him going from age 10 to 20, lickety split, and then 20 to 30 over 2,000 years. And I meant to mention that, and I totally blanked on it. So I'm glad Danny caught it, because that is a pet peeve of mine. When vampire stories and werewolf stories do the same damn thing. We talked about it when somebody brought up the werewolf or zombie story a few weeks ago about being internally consistent, where like somebody gets bit or scratched and they turn into a vampire or a werewolf instantly, but the plot needs this person, so it takes him like 3 freaking days to turn. And it's just like it's they turn when the plot is convenient. And I would just recommend come up with the rules for your universe, kind of like we were discussing in the Discord about having Bibles for your universes. It's like you should have one. Doesn't mean anybody's going to read it, but you should have one for yourself. And you should know what the rules of your universe are and be consistent with them. So, yeah.
Cool.
All right, Erwin, welcome
back, Erwin.
How you doing?
Hello, Erwin.
Hey.
Hey.
I'm good. I've been in China for a while now. A couple of weeks. I'm back now.
I did not know you even left the U.S.
Yeah.
Did you have to pay a tariff to return?
Yeah, I was wondering.
Well, yeah.
He did pay a tariff.
No.
I don't think you can put those on human beings.
Every human, has to pay tariff. But no, it was interesting, yeah. So, but I'm glad I'm back.
All right. So tonight we have the 8th version of PSA.
Hey, more vampires.
So, what this is, just for the record, Joseph sort of punched it up again, added more jokes, asked me for feedback. I was super busy today because I was launching that Kickstarter and had some other stuff to do.
There you go.
So I asked his permission and I brought it to the stream. I will take notes. In general, I don't think anyone's had any real structural complaints about this one for a while, but if there are any, let us know. And the goal is find ways to make it funnier.
Okay.
We need a reader. I would suggest Erwin, because Erwin's never read this.
Erwin, do you want to read? Are you on your phone, or can you do this?
No, yeah, I'm in front of this computer.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Do it.
All right. Is there a title to this, or
it's called PSA?
It's called PSA.
PSA.
Public service announcement. Yeah, PSA.
Okay. You have a title page.
Here you go. There you go. There you go. PSA by Joseph B. Wilkie.
Okay. All right. Page 1, panel 1. Splash page of our main cast. To the left is Martin, the dorkiest dork to ever dork. A young kid. He wears black framed glasses taped together at the rim, complete with a white button-up dress shirt and pocket protector. To his right stands the Creepy Crew, a gang of goth misfits ripped straight out of a Hot Topic ad. Standing proud in the center is Carmela. She's a tall, slender black woman rocking a purple leather corset tucked into her tight black jeans. Her hair is done up Odongo style, 2 poofy balls on top with long flowing black hair going down past her ass. To Carmela's right stands Fang, tallest of the bunch. Fang has on a beat-up military jacket, probably shoplifted from the local Goodwill. Their knees stick out from the holes in their blue jeans, but what they lack in fashion, they make up for in body art. Above their right eyebrow is a sick-ass skith tattoo with the wooden stem going down past their eye. Over on the left is Melissa, short and a bit of a wide load. She has winged eyeliner and a green mohawk, complete with trip pants from the 2000s. Behind them looms Creepy Manor, a derelict Gothic mansion painted white with purple trim.
You're late, dork ass. We just missed our 420.
Yeah.
I'll do Martin. No need for name calling, Carmela. My name's Martin. You know, I hate it when you call me that.
That's
not me.
I guess I'll be Melissa again. I am going to be mostly taking notes today, I think. Not as much as we hate dorks, right, Fang?
Right, Melissa. Getting major narc vibes from this guy.
Page 2, panel 1. Reveal a boardroom. Standing in the front is a frumpy, bald man in a tan suit that's on way too tight. Behind him are all the panels from the comic tacked onto a wall.
I'm telling you, goth mommies are all the rage these days. Put a few of them in our PSA and it's bound to go viral. The kids will love it. Goth moms.
Panel 2. Reverse shot revealing a group of white men, all bald, all old, all wearing identical suits that are the same color as the walls. Each of their heads are shaped like eggs. In the very back is the boss, much older than the rest but covered in shadow.
I'll do employee. Back in the 90s, we'd have a guy in a swing with a few pans around, swing a few pans around in a kitchen and call it food. Costed $20 and got the point across. This shot alone is going to cost us thousands.
Panel 3, Pitchman sweats, trying to smile through the criticism.
Oh, is that me? Oh, okay. The price for a drug-free America.
Panel 4, close-up of the boss, the baldest, fattest white man to ever exist. He sits Jendo style, fingers interlocked, elbows on the table, light reflecting off his circular glasses.
Go, Preston.
This is your only chance to impress us. Keep going, like your life depends on it.
Panel 5. Pitchman points at a panel tacked to the wall.
Right, of course. Remember the big spooky house from earlier? Well, after they break in.
Panel.
Did you read the book for him?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of this. Lima?
Oh,
okay, sorry.
No problem.
Page 3, panel 1. I was saying sorry to her. Page 3, panel 1. Inside the spooky manor living room, the crew sit on Gothic Victorian era couch. Thick cobwebs and dust cover every inch of the room. Long black candles burn on the table in front of them.
What's the Sigma? We could get in so much trouble if someone finds us.
Who's Fang?
John?
John.
Be Fang.
John? True. No one invited us in. That's against the rules. Right, Melissa?
It's not funny.
Any good party starts with a little B&E. Besides, the real fun is about to begin.
Panel 2. Melissa holds up a baggie full of pot in one hand while making a devil horn gesture with the other. Her tongue is rainbow, starting with orange, then green, then blue, then a normal pink.
Oh no. Is that?
Weed, ganja, Dracula dust, Orlock one-hitter so strong you'll have a full bloom ego death from one puff. Literal devil lettuce, because Satan is my plug.
Panel 3, close-up of Martin in panic.
Drugs? I got to get out of here. If we get caught, they'll send me away forever. I'll never survive in prison.
Panel 4, POV shot of the creepy crew all holding various drug paraphernalia. Carmela holds a glass dab rig. Melissa holds a soda can with smoke coming out of it. Fang holds a glass bat-shaped bong. The background darkened and their eyes lit up It should look like the creepy crew is offering the reader drugs.
Don't chicken out now, dork ass. You want to be cool, don't you?
Page 4, panel 1. Back in the boardroom, Pitchman stands back against the wall as a row of bald heads watches him. Tacked to the wall behind him is an image of Martin hitting the dab. Martin's wide eyes are rainbows, like the color wheel of a crashing Mac. Pitchman smiles, sweat pouring down his face. One of the employees raises a hand to ask a question.
One quick question. Whose idea was it to put you in charge?
Panel 2, Pitchman frowns, trying to hide the pain in his eyes, while the rest of the men laugh. The boss sits at the end of a table, unimpressed.
As you.
I volunteered. Believe it or not, this is my true calling. Just the other day.
Panel 3, Pitchman pulls out a baggie. Inside it is a rolled joint. He waves it frantically at the executives around the room. Boss remains cloaked in the far shadows, eyes glowing.
I found this under my son's bed, and I know I'm not the only parent that has to deal with this epidemic. My only son thinks it's fine to risk his life. So, who put me up to this? Who cares? I'm the man who's up for the job.
Riveting speech, but where exactly are you going with this? How will this keep our most precious asset, the youth, off drugs?
Fear. That's how. Spook them straight. Once a kid sees this, they'll go so scared that they'll never try drugs a day in their life.
Panel 4. Boss sits in the corner of the panel covered in shadow. Pitchman sits still, sweat pouring down his head as he waits for the boss's approval.
Proceed.
Page 5, panel 1. Martin runs down an empty hallway. The purple paint matches the dank, disgusting carpet peeling off the walls. He grabs his stomach with his other arm, reached out towards the bathroom door.
That's you.
Yes, sir. Remember Martin? Well, he's got a case of the tumbly wumblies. We followed him into the manor bathroom when...
Oh, gosh, I'm going to die. These drugs are taking over my systems. I'm actually going to die.
Panel 2, inside the bathroom, Martin talks to himself in the mirror, trying desperately to calm himself down.
What was all this for? To impress a bunch of people who never like me, no matter what I do. This isn't me.
Panel 3, Fang sits on the toilet, pants around their ankles. That's
a pronoun thing.
It is, yeah. Apparently, it's got they them there.
Yes, they are. That was
okay.
That was there. The last one.
Okay.
The last script was like that. Too.
I think that's just a thing he needs to fix, in my opinion. Anyway.
No,
pants around their ankles.
You didn't notice it last time. You won't notice the fact that you know.
It both times.
Yeah.
All right.
Fang's got his pants around his ankles, and now his skin sparkles while on the toilet. They're so vexed and frustrated that their vampire fangs have popped out.
Hey, no one at human school ever taught you how to knock?
Bloop.
Panel 4. Martin runs out the door in a panic. Fang screams from behind him, still sitting on the toilet.
At least close the door.
Guys, something's wrong. Either I'm high out of my mind or Fang's a vampire.
That's quite a leap.
5. Carmela licks her teeth. Melissa's mohawk is upright more than ever, her eyes glowing red. Both have long fangs coming out of their mouth. Fang stands behind Martin, blocking his escape. Fang is shirtless with perfect, sparkling washboard abs.
Who's Melissa?
A vampire? No. Really? Those are so fake and only in movies. Except not.
Get away. Don't eat me. I haven't even pirated music yet.
Oh, dork ass. You're so wrong about us. We're not going to eat you.
Yeah, dork. We're gonna smoke you.
Page 6, panel 1. Carmela's fangs sink into Martin's neck. Blood oozes out the side of the fresh wound. Panel 2. Punch in on the bite wound, and Carmela inhales smoke coming out of Martin's neck.
Who's Carmela?
I am Carmela. Ooh, that fear adds so much to it. I'm feeling it already.
Pretty hot.
Panel 3.
What was that?
Panel 3. Insert of Carmela smoking out of Martin's neck. Her eyes now have the same color wheel effect from page 3.
If only I'd never met these people.
Panel 4. Insert of Melissa. Her eyes have the color wheel as she feasts from Martin's wrist in ecstasy.
If only I'd stuck to my principles and kept studying the Bible.
Panel 5. Wide shot of the vampires feasting on Martin. Carmela has her fangs on Martin's neck. Melissa holds onto Martin's right wrist with Fang on the left wrist, both inhaling smoke from fresh bite wounds. The inserts are stacked on top of this panel.
If only I'd never tried drugs.
Okay. Page 7, panel 1. Pitchman stands center stage as each suit looks on in anger.
And that's it. My nephew's a real whiz on the computer. He can do the effects for free, lickety split.
Panel 2, an employee stands up, his anger getting the best of him.
No way we're paying for all that, especially when it's the exact opposite that happens.
Excuse me?
Drinking someone who's high doesn't make us high, idiot. Weed taints the blood. It makes you undrinkable to the rest of us.
Panel 3. Pitchman stands with his back against the wall, looking at the crowd in fear. They are all off panel, their shadows elongated over him.
Good joke, guys. Very funny. Maybe we can move on to the approval process and get the budget figured out.
Panel 4. Everyone in the room is a vampire.
Dun, dun, dun.
Not like the vampires from the fake commercial, but real vampires. They have black eyes with little red dots for pupils, all of them rail thin with long fangs protruding from their mouth. In the back of the room is Boss in his real vampire form, which is just normal him, but with a longer mustache and fangs.
Who's boss?
You are.
You are the boss.
Knowing what you know now, I cannot permit you to leave here alive.
Page 8, panel 1. Close up. Pitchman tries to turn the door handle, but in classic horror movie fashion, it's stuck.
Willikers! The door's jammed!
Rattle, 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 rattle. Panel 2. Pitchman turns dramatically to confront the crowd of vampires, holding the joint out like it's a holy crucifix.
Wait! Stay back! I know your weakness. One hit from this, and my blood becomes tainted, undrinkable. So back away, foul beasts.
Panel 3, close-up of the boss, threatening Pitchman, flanked by his vampiric underlings.
Yes, just one hit. But where's your lighter?
Panel 4, Pitchman faces the reader screaming while the vampires line up behind him. His fate is ambiguous, but one thing is for sure. His PSA will never get made.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, Erwin, what did you think? Give us positive sentiments about what we read. What do you think?
It's fun. There's a lot of monsters and such.
Sure.
There's really only like two normal people.
Yes.
And
one is just a fictional self-representation of the writer.
Yeah, because I like Martin.
Yeah.
I feel for him. So that's definitely a positive that identified with one of the characters. And yeah, there's a lot of weird monsters coming after normal people, and there's a bit of the sort of satire regarding um, sort of reefer madness type stuff, which I thought was kind of the aim of it, and it at first, but it does serve to do that. So yeah.
John.
All right.
Yeah, so
You gotta move
of course I've been here for like most of the last few versions. I mean, I feel like it works. It's a lot of fun. I don't know if I have much of an opinion on some of the joke changes. I did get a chuckle at the I should have kept reading my Bible thing.
Yeah.
That is, I did get a chuckle out of that. I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of the whole Twilight thing. I don't know if that works. Other than that, I liked some of the changes with Fang in the bathroom. I liked the comment about human school. That was kind of clever. I don't know if some of the changes in the art direction there are going to translate. Like you said, they're so frustrated that their teeth popped out, and like I get what you're going for, but I don't know how you can communicate that all in one panel. But again, your artists aren't idiots, so I'm sure they'll figure it out. But I personally can't visualize that. But yeah, I think the Twilight sparkly thing, I don't know. It was dumb in Twilight, as dumb as Twilight was, and I don't know if
we have moved into constructives. I see.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, I didn't realize I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Like this is minor changes.
Yeah,
I'm writing it down. You guys are still being helpful.
Yeah. Okay. That was all I really had anyway. Comparing this to the previous one, so.
All right. The humor was more evident to me in this reading of it, and I only saw the last one, but I think that in the PSA characters, that needs to be played up. I don't mean this as a constructive, because I think it's good, but the things that were happening, like, where the teeth are coming out, where their fangs are coming out, not having complete control over the fact that they're a vampire, that plays up the human school thing, like, how they're supposed to be, like what they're supposed to control and what they can't control. That could be really funny. Things could just start happening, where they, are, looking at somebody else and trying to bite somebody who's maybe a bystander or something like that. I mean, just, something where, like, they try to control their instincts against the human school training that they have. I think if that's played up, that becomes more humorous. The next one that I think that was pretty funny was while they're eating Martin, that Martin's having this kind of, I'm going to say almost sanguine, no pun intended, discussion about the regrets that he has of having gotten involved with these people, and as the metaphor to getting involved with drugs, and playing that up while they're smoking him like a bong, and I think that could be played up again, as they're all just very naturally acting. They've moved out of the human mode, they're back into the vampire mode, and they're calmly, eating him or, smoking him actually. And he's there, voicing his regrets, almost as though he's in confession with a priest. And I think that can be very funny. I'll get to the constructive stuff in a minute.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I'm uncomfortable with how the pitchman scene is, not so much with what he says, but the interaction with the executives, and that they're kind of plotting. I mean, they don't have any they're not, when compared to the characters that they have in the PSA, these guys are just there to move the plot along. until the very end when it's finally starts to get interesting. I want to go kind of blend it into a constructive. There's one part where he says the other employees line up behind the boss like they're about to consume the pitch man. It should be like a buffet line, like he's there on a thing and there's this like little glass shield, a sneeze guard, and they're like lined up, picking up the forks that they need or something like that, getting ready, getting napkins and stuff. Just play it up a little bit more like that, almost imitating what had happened when they were smoking Martin. I don't know, that's
or in this case imitating a corporate luncheon.
Perfect, exactly. Donuts on the table, but it's the pitch man.
There you go.
That's absolutely hilarious.
All right, Dan, can you think of anything there? No.
I actually don't remember the making of the cross with the two blunts.
Yeah, that was an addition.
That was an addition. I really like that, actually.
Yes, that's good. I meant to mention that. I meant to mention that, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm old, and I was a fan of a series you guys probably never even heard of called Count Yorga.
Oh my God, I love that. Yes.
I love Count Yorga. That is my favorite vampire because it's all camp, total camp.
Yes.
And there's a scene in it with two investigators, cops or something like that. They're not Van Helsing, but they're like, investigating the crimes. And Count Yorga's standing there, and the one guy gets killed. He's thrown out the window. And the lead detective stands there and he goes, and he makes a cross out of his fingers.
Yeah.
And then he reaches out, and the vampire, Count Yorga, reaches out, grabs his fingers and throws him out the window. And I remember laughing so hard when I saw that scene. That's where that could go. It's like, they make the cross out of the joint and they just slam him against the wall, breaking up him into pieces and drinking the blood from the loosened limbs. I don't know. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's actually really
this
funny.
is all really helpful, guys. I appreciate it. I'll certainly say that there's a very weird challenge when you're editing people, when you're suggesting things like, no, take it farther. That's the only way it's actually really funny. And then like, it doesn't go far enough, it feels like, in revisions. But I feel like we're getting really close. I'm really glad that the changes seem to be working. I suspect there's a degree to which I do have to bow down to the fact that my name isn't on this. And you'll end up where it is, but I mean, I'm not worried about that.
So
I'm wondering, can you do something very similar to Count Yorga, where we have the two blunts doing the cross, and they just kind of like pinch it, and it just falls apart. So, and then he's like, does the fingers next?
That would be very funny if we had more real estate to work with, which we don't.
Oh, we don't. But I understandable. But that is very cute. But you can also have him say, because I remember the original line was like shit. Outside of the lighter. And I'm like,
I mean, if you were to extend that scene, that would still be the end of it.
Yeah.
Because there would be 3 more gags in the way.
Yeah. It's true. If this was a film, that would work. So yeah.
But hey, we made Martin like really sympathetic now, so that landed.
That's nice.
And you cackled when you saw that Fong was sparkling on the toilet.
I cackled at that mainly because my
look, it's the 21st century. We all have to suck this up. Twilight.
Okay, the thing is that I understand that Twilight. I also hate sparkling vampires. However, you put that in a parody, I'm kind of okay with that.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. But the thing is this. Strangely enough, when I read that, I was just imagining Fang putting on like sparkling cream on him in the bathroom in private because he's shirtless. And I'm just going over here going like, did he put like was he spraying
It's perfect. They're in the bathroom in front of the mirror, and they're grooming.
And he's grooming himself like he's putting on the sparkly on and like maybe even flexing in front of the mirror. But then again, he's a vampire. You can't see anything. If he's a real vampire, he wouldn't have a reflection,
of course.
Right?
That's exactly.
One of my favorite short comics is like this guy's talking to his friend. He's like, "Hey, do I have a Dracula attached to my head?" He's like, "Look in the mirror." Of course, he can't.
That's it. Or he has to ask Martin that.
And then the guy's friend is like, "No, you don't." And then Dracula hands him like some cash, and the guy just walks away.
All right.
I think yeah, sorry to jump in here at the last second here. I think
this is new to you. I'm gonna write down everything.
Yeah, I think there's the Martin is a sympathetic character, and so I think you could use Martin's desire or need to drive that half of the story. For instance, I think a lot of times, of course, when someone is sort of tempted to use pot against their own morals, it's because of a girl, right? So maybe in typical satirical fashion, or whatever, this girl is kind of leading Martin on, and he's eating it up, and maybe he seems to be making some headway, or maybe she seems to be, she's just putting him down at the right moment.
It's like a dominatrix angle almost.
Right. I'm just saying that there could be something driving that half of the story that makes it more interesting. I think makes it more of a kind of a story.
Give her a whip. Give her a whip.
Well,
that's actually a great note.
Martin really be
I was just going on.
We ended up with Palace again.
So
I am
saw it as
totally
Martin.
cool with
Okay.
not writing a sexless vampire comic.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm sending that note over.
Okay. I saw it as Martin being the nerdy guy that he is. He's just trying to fit in, and these guys welcomed him, and he's trying, but he's failing. So
that's definitely what's happening, but doesn't mean one of them can't be flirtatious.
that's true. And I suppose Melissa or whatever, or like Fang was kind of hidden on him.
Very thirst trap.
So
well, that's the bathroom scene. That's the
bathroom scene, because in the one of the original drafts, there was like this huge confrontation between Fang and Martin, and Fang was kind of coming on to him, and I was like, all right, so okay, cool. So but that all got cut, and I think it actually worked better this way, because I know that the writer wanted to have a limit, like what is it, like
I want to say the PSA.
It was 8 pages, right?
Yeah.
This is going in anthology. Is maximum 8 pages.
8 pages, yeah. So, and it's just like we're adding more stuff to it, but the thing is that what he's trying to do is like an 8-page thing. So
I get it. I think if I'm just coming with some gaggy things here. Yeah, like if a vampiress wanted to tempt a nice Christian boy.
Yes,
she would like wear a nun's outfit or something. She would wear, I don't know, something Christian, right?
This is becoming increasingly like Real Kill Cult song.
I am very cool with
it actually
that. Kayla will want to draw that really badly. I don't know if it'll get art directed properly, but I'm writing it down anyways.
Yeah. The vampiress could like be a really stupid Christian, right? Like she could be really stupid and clunky in her attempts to being a Christian. Like what are Christians attracted to? Like
human school training. Yeah.
I want you to know that the Italians love nunsploitation.
There you go.
So like,
I'm pretty sure not just the Italians.
Oh, I know, but it's like very, very much Catholic countries. Like nunsploitation films are huge. Spain, Italy, like especially the Italians. France loves it. I mean, like, is some crazy. I've showed you one, didn't I? Yeah, I showed you one of the exploitation.
Those nuns.
Yeah, with like Anita.
I mean, look, it's well known that once you enter the convent, you have to grapple with lust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the ladies are out.
Let's confuse our lusty selves with serial twins.
Yes.
For our
ultra violence.
Here we go.
Let's serial twins.
I'm going to offer something on the other side real quick here. I think that the other side of the story could use like an ongoing sort of shtick or gag. For instance, this pitch guy could be sort of inadvertently, like the vampires are getting, they want to get close to him. They want to start sucking his blood, but he inadvertently like continues to like just waylay them. Like he offers, I don't know, he offers them like garlic hors d'oeuvres, or he accidentally like swings his cross necklace on one of their faces or something like that. Or it needs for me. I think that the other half of the story for me would be carried better if there was a running theme, that was not just like, oh, these people hate him, and then we get like the reveal later that they're vampires and they're going to suck his blood. But yeah, a gag that maybe clues in a little bit on what we're going to get later on, but we're not quite. But the only the smart readers will get after the first or second gag.
I am going to argue against that for the mere fact that I actually loved the twist that he's trying to do a PSA with kids who are vampires, and then the twist goes like, oh, they're all vampires. And I like that, honestly. I actually saw the foreshadowing in actually the PSA, and it's just like, oh, what a dramatic irony. I work for vampires. Oops.
But you could do that because of the thing. The more I think about it, I really love the idea that like the teeth, the fangs start to show in the PSA, and they're going, oh, geez, this is a problem. That should happen. That should be echoed or mirrored, no pun intended, in the executives. Like a couple of those guys, like they go, oh, my tooth is showing, and he like pushes it back up or something like that, and just blur that line between the PSA vampires and the executives. It kind of melds them in a way that they seem so separate now and make a sudden change.
All right. Page 60. Panel 1, wide shot of the orphanage yard at. Oh yeah, we're going back.
We're going back to the orphanage.
Night.
No, this is a new orphanage from like the last batch of pages, right?
Torches cast flickering light across the terrified faces of the orphans. Sister Lindsay stands at the front, a sinister silhouette against the flames. Caption: a week later. Panel 2, close-up of Sister Lindsay's face, twisted in fervent conviction as she speaks to the assembled children.
The sins your parents committed will haunt you children forever. Pain is the only way to release the demon.
I love it. Panel 3, medium shot of a nun opening a trunk and pulling out a leather whip.
All right.
Are we corrupting other people?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Ideally,
are we getting children involved with BDSM?
I hope not. Anyway.
By we, or are you talking about us or Rutger?
Rutger.
Because Rutger assumes anyone's going to stick around this story long enough to get to this part.
Yeah. All right. The children visibly flinch. Panel 4, wide shot of the orphans parting like a wave as Sister Lindsay points at Megan and Catherine in the back. The twins' shoulders sag as they step forward, heads bowed. Panel 5, close-up of Catherine's shriveling hands reaching for the hem of her skirt, lifting it up to expose her back. Or shirt, sorry. Shirt, not skirt. Megan stands beside her, stone-faced. Exactly. Already prepared. Panel 6, medium shot of Sister Lindsay raising the whip high, her face alight with sadistic glee. The torchlight gleams off the leather. Panel 7, close-up of the whip snapping against Catherine's back. Crack, her body jerks forward in pain, her face contorted as tears spill over.
I really like this scene when you wrote it, Preston.
I know. I feel like it's pretty good.
Yeah, this was a really good part of Palace of the Golden Princess.
Anyway, panel 1, medium shot of Megan grabbing Catherine as she collapses. Panel 2, wide shot of leading her away. In the background, the next set of children step forward reluctantly. Panel 3, interior shot of the orphanage dormitory, dimly lit by a single bulb. Megan sits at the bottom bunk, gently lifting Catherine's shirt to reveal fresh lash marks. A damp cloth is in her hand. Panel 4, close-up of Megan dabbing a wound. Her expression a mix of anger and sorrow. Catherine winces from the sting. Panel 5, medium shot of Catherine sitting up, turning slightly to look at Megan.
Let me do you.
I love it. All right.
It's not a John Lamont script.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not. Actually, yes, I am. John, your scripts are universally more coherent than this.
Yeah. Danny's always got it. And don't be so catty. Panel 6. I'm liking it. Panel 6. Close up of Megan shaking her head firmly.
No, I can wait.
Yeah.
Go to sleep.
62. Panel 1. Wide shot of Megan tucking Catherine under the covers, holding her.
What's with all the bold and the not bold?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that. That's very interesting.
Holding her close as Catherine drifts off, her breathing calming. Panel 2, medium shot of Megan sitting on the edge of the bunk, her gaze fixed on the door as the other orphans quietly file into the dormitory, their faces streaked with tears. Panel 3, medium over-the-shoulder shot of Megan watching the female bully limp to her bunk, her back raw from flesh lashes, Megan's eyes narrow slightly. Panel 4, medium shot of Megan slipping away from Catherine, who sleeps soundly, and 2, walking over to the female bully with the damp cloth in her hand. Panel 5, close-up of Megan kneeling beside the female bully, gently dabbing at her wounds. The bully winces but doesn't move away. Panel 6, medium shot of the bully glancing down at Megan, her face softening despite the pain.
I'm sorry.
Panel 7.
We have bullies.
Panel 7.
Yeah, bullies.
Close-up of Megan looking at the bully, her expression calm. She must die. Like,
die. Let's kill the other child.
Wide shot of the bustling streets of downtown Austin at night. This is Austin, Texas, by the way, Irvin, just in case you
Wait, really?
Yes.
Apparently.
Did they go to Austin?
No, because they were at the University of Dallas.
Texas at all. No, the University of Texas at Austin.
Oh, yeah, Dallas.
Yeah, but like they were in somewhere else, and then they went to Austin to go murder whoever it is who framed them up as murderers.
At University of Texas at Austin. Anyway.
Oh, this is the present day then.
I believe, yes. We're back to Austin is present day. Whenever we're at Austin, we're present.
Okay, cool.
Okay, all right. So the flashback's over.
Yes, the flashback is over.
Okay.
We're not flashing back to like them actually trying to be superheroes.
Yes, we're back to the superhero timeline.
Right.
Okay.
Megan walks briskly, weaving effortlessly through the festive crowd. Bright neon signs and partygoers create a chaotic, vibrant atmosphere. Panel 2, medium shot of Megan stopping at a crosswalk, the red light glaring above her. Around her, drunken revelers laugh and shout, oblivious to her presence. Panel 3, high shot from above the street, focused on the second-story outdoor bar. A gathering of people celebrate, cheering loudly as a pair of red balloons drift into the air. Panel 4, close-up of Megan's face, staring at the balloons as they rise higher and higher. Her expression distorts, almost haunted. They all float down here. It has entered the story. Panel 1, medium shot of a drunk bar hopper bumping into Megan as the light turns green, jolting her from her thoughts. She stumbles slightly. We got it.
Oof. Was that me?
Yeah, sure. Ooh, I don't. Whoever wants to. Panel 2, white shot of Megan crossing the street, lost in the shuffle of the intoxicated crowd. Panel 3, medium shot of a female motorcyclist on the side of the street, struggling to kickstart her Kawasaki bike. Megan approaches. Panel 4, close-up of Megan kneeling next to the bike, tweaking the gears with practiced ease.
I know a trick.
Oh my god, is this a crossover with La Vigilante?
Yes. 65, panel 1, medium shot of Megan reviving the throttle and giving the bike a hard kick. The engine roars to life. Panel 2, close-up of the female motorcyclist, her face lighting up with gratitude as she takes the bike back from Megan.
Thanks.
You learned that from Harley Davidson.
Panel 3, medium shot, walking away, throwing a peace sign over her shoulder.
Self-taught.
Panel 4, wide shot of a Catholic church at night. Midnight Mass has just let out. Faithful parishioners filter out of the building, warmly greeted by a nun and a priest standing at the entrance. Panel 5, across the street, Megan sits at a bus stop. She gazes upward at the treetops, her face penciled. 6, close-up of the red balloons from earlier, now trapped in the branches above the church. Megan stares at them, lost in thought. 7, medium shot of Megan's face turning grim as she shifts her gaze towards the churchgoers. Her expression is dark, her thoughts clearly elsewhere. 66, panel 1, flashback inside the orphanage cathedral. A wide shot shows Megan and Catherine, 16 years, sweeping between the pews. The winter, now it's flashback again because they're 16. They're 16, yeah. The winter sun streams through stained glass windows, casting a reddish glow over the space. Panel 2, medium shot as Catherine handing Megan a piece of chocolate, cautious not to be seen.
Happy birthday, sis.
Panel 3, close up of Megan taking the chocolate, a small, rare smile appearing.
Sneaky devil.
Panel 4, wide shot through the stained glass window. Megan notices a plume of smoke rising in the distant forest. Urious, she stares at it. That's what it says, Urious.
Yeah, I know.
I'm Urious.
Ooh, furious?
Furious?
No, it's Urious.
Furious?
It's Panel 5, Sister Lindsay's chamber. Interior shot of Sister Lindsay's chamber. The twins sit stiffly across the desk from an older, decrepit Sister Lindsay who grips a ruler tightly, her face distorted.
Do you girls have your period?
Boy, Sister Lindsay's weird. Panel 6, close up of the twins.
If you watch non-exploitation,
yeah, okay, yeah,
non-exploitation films, this completely makes sense.
Okay, all right. We've gone in the non-exploitation genre, of which, which
add one more genre to the list.
And I need
this story delves into
hairy crotch.
Panel 6, close up of the twins, clearly uncomfortable, avoiding eye contact. Catherine bites her lip and Megan scowls slightly.
Yes.
67, panel 1, wide shot of Sister Lindsay calling towards the door, her voice loud and sharp.
Father Miller!
Panel 2, medium shot, the door creaks open. Father Miller enters. Panel 3,
just like
his
that?
expression unsettling. I mean, he likes to watch.
Yeah, just like that.
Oh, wow. He likes to watch.
Unsettlingly gentle as he places his hand on the twin's shoulder. The girls stiffen. Their unease palpable, medium shot. Panel 4, close-up of Father Miller smiling faintly, his tone soft but sinister.
Who's Father Miller?
God has sent me. God has sent me to save you girls and your rotting souls.
Dun dun dun.
Panel 5, medium shot of Father Miller leaning closer, his hands beginning to roam inappropriately. Catherine bangs her head, tears forming, while Megan glares at him with barely concealed rage. Panel 6, wide shot of Sister Lindsay watching from behind her desk, her expression smug and satisfied.
Happy birthday, girls. Dude, what the hell?
Wow, boys are the worst.
All right. Let's go.
All right.
Remember they just hated bullies?
Yeah. Apparently, we'll add sexual molestation to that.
I feel like there's a hierarchy of damage there, and the writer has not put things in the right order.
It happens. Panel 1, Father Miller's quarters, wide shot. The twins sink on his bed as Father Miller takes off his collar, loosening some buttons. Medium shot. Father Miller places a chair in front of them and sits. Panel 2, close-up of Megan's fist clenched tightly, her knuckles white. Panel 3, medium shot of Father Miller sitting in a chair in front of the twins, handling a tiny Bible to Catherine.
Catherine, you recite.
Panel 4, close-up of Father Miller's face as he pauses, his eyes narrowing as he turns to Megan.
No. Megan, you recite.
Panel 5, medium shot of Megan opening the Bible to the bookmarked page. Her hands shake slightly, but her expression remains cold and focused. Panel 6, close-up of the Bible in Megan's hands, the words of Psalms 32:8 visible on the page.
I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you.
Panel 7, close-up of Father Miller's hand on Catherine's inner thigh. Catherine's face is just visible, a tear streaking down her cheek. 69, panel 1. These twins have had a really hard
time. I know. I mean, cannibals and now
their parents. Now
that is rough.
Panel 1, extreme close-up of Father Miller licking the tear of Catherine's face. Oh, there we go. Her eyes shut and twisted, or his eyes shut in twisted pleasure. Panel 2, medium shot of Megan's hands snapping out and grabbing the rosary around Father Miller's neck. The beads snap and scatter across the floor. Panel 3, Megan's face, pure fury as she drives the metal cross into Father Miller's eye. Time for ultraviolet! Blood spurts.
You bitch!
Panel 4, medium shot of Father Miller falling backwards, his body twitching. Panel 5, medium shot. Catherine, trembling, raises the Bible above her head and slams it down on the cross, driving it deeper.
Nice.
There we go.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, I believe I started at 60, so that was 60 to 69. So there we go. All right. I believe that Rutger is getting better. I think
that is actually
like his pages have improved quite a bit.
That's still a lot of action in one panel. That's
I mean, sure.
Yeah, but
it's
the
a
thing is,
none of
Rutger
this is being
signature.
edited.
Huh?
It's just more of the same unedited thing that we were reading before, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I really have to wonder whether or not he's editing in between streams, or if he just wrote the whole thing and is just throwing it at us and we'll edit later.
I'm going to suggest, based on his feedback of no, I'm not going to change anything ever, that he's not editing anything.
Well,
if he's not going to change anything ever, then what's the point of presenting it on stream? Like, if you're convinced that this is already perfect, then just make the damn thing.
I believe that his pages are getting better, and I applaud. So
it's pretty good. This flows. The descriptions are dense, and so I don't. Again, not being a comic expert, I don't know how you could fit all that on a page. There's like, what is this? Like 6 panels.
All right, the comic experts don't know either. Don't worry about it, Robert.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
It's
you're not the only one.
It looks crowded to me, or it's very small, or in a very large tabloid-sized, booklet. Go take your pick. But otherwise, the flow is there. The drama is there as well, and the rage. The characters are well displayed. I don't know if they're well evolved, but they're well displayed.
I agree, and I did break the format. Yes, this is very much like the cannibal torture opening of your story. One of the more compelling scenes you've written. It escalates appropriately. It's properly creepy. Especially that bit when there's that flashback when they're 16. That was certainly compelling drama. That seems like a sort of story that's really compelling to watch or read or whatever.
And Draco wanted to say, just like John said before, you have 1 frame, not 24 frames, because it's not a live scene.
Oh, a live scene.
Or a live
action.
Oh, wow.
Live action.
I'm sorry.
I thought that was a live vaccine.
I like that. I like
what he wrote.
vaccine.
I mean, autocorrect. Also, why is that in your autocorrect, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
is it vaccines in everybody's? I mean, autocorrect is trying to get people to take their vaccines.
Yes.
Okay.
Like everybody else. Anyway, yeah. So So the tension in the later scene was definitely was growing and going somewhere, and the payoff was nice, and I hope in the next page somebody kills somebody with a Bible. I think that would be very Serial Twins. I think
yes.
should what was
John, the most Serial Twins thing
John?
that could happen would be if the next page cuts back to the modern day and they are seriously talking about how they're pacifists, don't want to kill anybody, and need to defend themselves from claims that they are horrible murderers.
No, go with the Bible murder. Go with the Bible murder.
I think it wasn't it John Wick or in one of those where he was like, because John Wick used a lot of improvised weapons, and I think one of the scenes he was using a book to like smash somebody's head in. So I think that would be like really, really a really cool visual, like smashing somebody with the Bible and you get blood splatter on it,
Yeah.
I think that would be a really cool visual. So I hope that happens. So I'm giving positive feedback for a scene that hasn't happened yet, which may not happen, but I hope it does.
Wait, what did you think of the nuns, John? Do we like the nuns? Do we like Sister Lindsay?
Yeah, nuns out of 10. Let's go.
What is that?
Nuns out of 10.
Like rate the nuns on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Nuns out of 10.
Yeah.
The pimp nun. Well, it's the same character. Pimp nun, kind of leads into the other scene. I am personally not a fan of torture for torture's sake, and especially torture of children. because I think the other previous flashback they were like 10 or 12 or something.
Yeah.
So that is going to be an incredibly hard scene for most people.
It is.
Yes.
Is it torture or punishment? I thought it was couched in punishment.
Well, okay. Regardless of what you're labeling at, it's
Cat o' nine tails on a 10-year-old's back.
Yeah.
It is.
And I'm sorry,
that's torture.
So
that's torture.
That is
also
so
what
that
the hell
nun,
did they do? Honestly, they didn't do anything except exist. It's like, oh, well, you're gonna pay for the sins of your parents. I'm like, why? Doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Jesus has some words about that.
It seems like the father and the sister singled these two out for reasons that go beyond like school rules.
Yeah.
Well, in the 10-year-old torture scene, they were torturing all the girls.
Okay.
The rapists, because again, that's where the bully thing was. So they were like tearing up all the girls. And the problem, it's like, the problem was, well, in most of those nunsploitation films, none of the characters are underage, and that is
not true. But okay. But go ahead.
Well, okay, the ones I've seen, they're not underage. But
we're talking about the characters, not the actors.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Okay. So anyway, I just feel like the character.
I don't like this live stream. Anyway, I have to do my best to try and keep it going.
Anyway, that being said, so the nun in the first. So to answer Danny's question, -2 million in Sister Lindsay's first scene, and I'll give her a 3 in her second scene.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Danny.
But I hope she gets a Bible to her skull in the very near future too.
I know. I already know you hated Sister Lindsay before she walked on the page, and now you're ready to see her comeuppance.
I am absolutely ready to see both their comeuppance.
There you go.
So I'm going to treat this as an exploitation, as you did in the first scene with the cannibal kids. and I just go like, I actually really like this scene very, very much. And it's exceedingly creepy. There is suspense in this. Because this is you're getting authority figures who are given this power and they're torturing kids. And this goes back to the first scene again. So this is a nice motif going to this as an exploitation. They are rightfully, or at least the father is rightfully punished. And when they put the cross in there and then you smash it with the Bible, it's like, let's do that. Let's keep doing that. So I'm rooting for them to die horribly. So but I will again go back to like, yes, I want more of this. I do not want the high school drama, and I still don't. And I
mean, I guess we'll go ahead and go into constructive.
Yeah, and it's just,
I mean, a little bit kind of harkening back to John Lamont. We have the present day figures, who are basically superheroes that never really have to worry about any harm coming to them, despite however ridiculous the odds.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are intercutting that with
them being very small,
like
and
other vulnerable, like versions of themselves, and like we're really very concerned about them. And so it ends up like the story. We have two separate storylines that Serial Twins has presented us with. We have the children who are horribly abused by their parents, who then go to a convent where they are horribly abused by the convent. And then we have them as adults
where
they're using violence to solve every problem, and including their reputation for violence. And and I
never stopped being funny.
That's a 9-layer cake.
And then you weren't here, Robert, for the rest of it, but it's pretty crazy.
That's the kicker of this whole thing, is that they're there to reclaim their reputation for nonviolence by murdering as many strangers as possible.
That doesn't
and beating up bullies.
It doesn't bother me because there's a fairly consistent theme, and your wish for punishment coming down is, or these are people who've had transgressions, and so they're coming back and punishing them for that, however they perceive it. And if it goes wrong, if they perceive it incorrectly that somebody's there, then they're in the wrong. But if somebody had a transgression and they punish them, it's fair game.
I really wish that was the script we'd be reading.
Robert, thank you for that insight, but unfortunately, Danny's right. That is not what we're getting. So in previous versions, they're beating up bullies that have not really caused like.
But they are bullies.
They
bullies.
Unreasonably escalate on these people, and I'm just going like, dude, you practically almost murdered this guy for basically
what they do is they look at who's the violent actor in a situation, and they go and they commit horrible violence to that person.
Tenfold.
Isn't that okay? Remember, did you ever see the movie? Oh God, what was it called? Billy Jack.
Yeah,
he's this guy who just he's not involved in it. They hardly ever go after him until the very end. He's always running in and rescuing all these people. Maybe that's how they see themselves.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it surely is, but that doesn't. The thing is, like, there's the story that ostensibly this is, and there's a story that we're actually reading, and they are not anywhere near the same thing.
Okay.
Which remains an ongoing problem with this. As I was saying, this scene is good. This scene is a perfectly fine continuation of your first 2 pages.
Yes.
There's a big problem in the 50 pages in between that give us something completely different.
Yes.
That is substantially worse and has a completely different theme and tone.
Well, I disagree with Danny. I think the middle 50 pages was substantially better, and that's what I want to read more of.
Sure.
Okay.
And I don't want to see all of his cannibalism and, kitty torture in my fun, lighthearted comic about 2 hot girls in sexy outfits, with superpowers.
Like the one behind you in the picture.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering which aspect of the story, the present time or the past time, actually has. Do they both have a real conflict? We could have a moral conflict with what the present day superheroes are doing, sort of inordinately punishing bad guys, like going to the extreme or something like that. But that doesn't make for a real conflict for the story or for the characters.
Kind of
that also requires the writer to give us an actual payoff, but I'm not sure that that's actually going to end up happening.
Yes, to Draco's point, yes. Like the domestic violence guy in the shower, he wasn't doing anything but taking a shower. He finally kicked his
They are
ass.
a hero. He
like,
left his wife, broke into his apartment,
okay,
with a knife, and then nearly killed his child.
Yeah.
Because he was taking a shower and she thought maybe something bad.
They literally home invaded an apartment and supposedly just saved this kid.
Right.
And they literally got into like the shower of a naked man and punched him in the face. And I just thought, what the hell did he do? And then later on, the little child is hiding on the table. Like, oh,
I mean,
okay.
The thing is, they make, if I'm going to put this in an entirely Marxist frame,
okay,
which I'm not comfortable with, but in the flashbacks, they're entirely oppressed, right? They lack agency. They're entirely oppressed.
Lack agency.
And in the future, they seem to have made the transition to
oppressor.
Yeah.
And I still don't see a conflict. Like they're beating up all these people.
Yes.
Well, Erwin, that's because there is
conflict there. I mean, there doesn't seem to be one just because they're beating people up badly.
That was our criticism for the first 20 pages, but the writer decided to just go ahead and give us more pages anyway.
Oh no, the Marxist works. The Marxist works. It's the Marx. What did he say? History repeats itself first as tragedy and then as farce.
Right.
So
Ooh, okay.
I moved into farce.
I could absolutely.
I feel like
if
this were a Marxist farce, it should be more self-aware, but it's certainly going in that direction more than anything else.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, this script might be secretly brilliant.
And
Draco, I think you're
asking, Erwin, when you're asking like what is the conflict, we're not actually sure.
Yes,
that's the thing.
That is the thing.
We have gone through about like what 60 pages.
I mean, I can tell you what.
Are you saying? Well, wait a minute. Are you saying conflict or motivation? The character arc.
Conflict.
Yeah, there's no conflict. Their motivation is to
it has
resolve
motivation.
their reputations for violence.
Yeah. Yes, we have motivation. The problem is conflict.
Yeah.
Motivation for days, no conflict.
Yeah. Yeah, no conflict. So that was kind of like
there's no super
paradox of this.
Like the villains are all in our flashbacks. The villains, the parents, the villains, the priest. Like, and we know this is a flashback, so we know they get out of it. So as
real
horrible and tragic as it is,
it's internal. It's how can they get beyond their horrible upbringing to be beacons of justice that they want to be. So that to me is the conflict that I see of serial twins, but I don't know that we're ever.
Yeah, and it's by assaulting strangers.
Yeah. What was that, Danny?
Well, the method that they have chosen to use, vexingly, is by assaulting strangers.
Yeah. Yes.
They assault strangers in order to be beacons of nonviolence. It is an incredibly insightful criticism of the utility of violence in modern society. The problem is that it's wrapped in a totally crazy plot.
Yeah. Yeah. And we also have all this investigation and like
it's just shenanigans.
Yeah, the university drama, the school drama, and all this
too.
stuff.
Like we left that like 20 pages ago too.
Yeah, and we just don't know what's going on. Like majority of that, we're just kind of reading through.
I mean, I do appreciate that the writer does seem to have realized that this is the interesting story and does keep writing more of it.
Yeah.
The problem is when we tell the writer that we don't get more of it, or indeed, as John would prefer, less of it.
Anyway, all right. Well,
either of those options would be fine.
Yeah. Well, there we go. We did some serial twins, and
yay!
Thanks for participating, everybody.
Also, when do they kill Jesus? That's happening.
Yeah,
I don't know where they're gonna go.
Yeah, that's a totally new plot line.
I don't know.
It comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm on tenterhooks waiting to see how that happens.
I want to know.
Is Sister Lindsay the catalyst that causes Jesus's assassination attempt in the past?
I don't know. I want to know where the time machine comes in.
Yeah.
I want to know how they killed Jesus.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to pitch this right now, and I really, really hope I'm right.
Okay,
because they're so angry at the Catholic Church,
yes,
for torturing them as children, and their very Christian parents for making them become cannibals as children or whatever, right?
Yes.
They decide the only way to resolve this crisis of their own consciences is to go back in time and murder Jesus. That way,
my gosh.
They wouldn't have violated any moral. Oh yeah,
exactly.
Well, no, Jesus wouldn't be there to start Christianity. Therefore, the church would not exist. Therefore, that's brilliant, Danny. That's brilliant.
That actually is brilliant. That is actually brilliant.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure most people are going to say, "I'll pass."
Well, yeah, obviously, but like at least that plot's internally coherent.
Okay, Draco just asked what?
I'm sticking to the vampires getting nailed to the cross.
Or we get semi plots where they are, I assume, are time travelers.
I don't know. They're kind of adults now. So
they are.
So I don't know.
We're all time travelers, Draco, just moving forward in time at the normal pace.
Yes. All right. Well, I think we did enough scripts this week, and it's 9:30. Next week we'll read some Draco pages.
Awesome.
And maybe some me pages. And maybe some more Robert and John and Rupture pages. We'll see.
If I started working on the second 10 pages of issue 4, so if I get them finished, I'll bring them.
Okay.
I definitely spent at least an hour and a half today staring at a blank page, hoping it would spontaneously turn into M issue 2. So eventually I'm gonna have to actually just write it and make it happen.
Okay.
In the meanwhile, everyone should back Cygnus Imperium.
Yes.
Currently live on Kickstarter.
Absolutely.
And hopefully doing slightly better now. Because it's a super awesome book with a giant robot that punches spaceships. If you like Star Wars, you will love this.
So,
Okay.
so you.
Oh
and you
wow!
Did not
Hey,
do...
Danny, look at this. You got massive clout from being on the show. You should be excited.
What happened?
He's now at 934.
Nice.
Hey.
Yeah, look at this. Boom. 934. 23 backers. You're about to hit your goal, or you're less than.
Nice. Oh yeah! Wow. The American
Cygnus
dollars.
Imperium. Let's look that up.
Problematically expensive. At any rate, oh yeah, sorry, Robert. I just launched this on Kickstarter today.
100 pages is a pretty good value, you know.
For like 20 American dollars, yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Well, today, who knows what they'll be worth next week?
That's why you got to buy it today.
That is yes.
There are early bird discounts right now.
Yes.
See, unlike crypto, comics and art is a store of value.
Yes.
Yes.
So, everyone, back today.
Indeed.
Support
all right.
Your local authors.
And I'll see everybody next week. Good night,
Okey-doke.
everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Night, everyone.